My baby, stop everything and listen to me now. This second doesn't always happen like this. I'm calling you right into a divine interruption, because time is running out. A miracle is about to happen to you. This isn't a soft whisper of comfort. It's a rush of urgency. A call from heaven meant to wake you up for your spirit. Stop taking every other step. You shouldn't take another breath until you've given these words some time to sink in. I'm about to tell you what was set in motion. What is relentlessly drawing nearer to you? Why are these moments more subject to you than you think? Pay attention to me now, because the present isn't a coincidental event or a lucky break. The present isn't just another moment in your day. That's a holy interruption. And I'm leaning in to talk to you right away. Dear child, please come closer to me, because as you read these words, I'm moving toward you with purpose, with care, and with purpose. You are sure you found it here by accident. You're just reading something. But I told you the truth. I planned this real moment in time, because I knew exactly what your heart might be feeling, what questions would be going through your mind, and what weight might be pressing on your chest. I have observed you navigate your days with a silent pain, projecting strength and maintaining composure in the presence of others, all the while inwardly questioning, Lord, do you still see me? Do you still recognize me? Do you still care? I have seen all of those unspoken questions and heard all the words you never said out loud. I was there with you on the car rides, where you looked out the window and thought, something has to give. Something needs to change. I used to be there in the dark, when you were wide awake, staring at the ceiling and scrolling through your phone to take your mind off the knot of tension in your chest. You felt alone, but you were never, ever alone. I watched you get up when you didn't feel like getting up. I saw you put on a show for people who had no idea how tired your soul was. I saw you swallow your tears to keep the peace and smile so people wouldn't worry about you. I have counted every tear that traced down your face and soaked into your pillow. Yet I did not observe any of them. There have been times when you felt like no one really understood how much you mean to them. But I know everything. The dreams you buried because you were tired of being put down, the disappointments you don't talk about, and the prayers you stopped praying because you thought the answer would be no. I'm calling you in right now because I'm not done with you. I'm not silent toward you or detached from your story. I know how close you are to giving up on things I told you not to start. I know how your mind's clock screams that it's too late, too long past, too broken, and too behind schedule. But I'm the one who stands outside of time and steps into it. And I choose now to whisper to you that I am here, that I am talking, that I am not done. You're not reading these words out of risk. You're being pursued by a love that won't let you float away ignored. So lean in, open your heart, and let every part of you, the tired, the harassed, the hopeful, and the afraid, come closer. Your decision to listen will determine what unfolds in your life. What I'm about to say goes to the deepest parts of your heart. I've seen every secret tear you tried to hide as energy. You've been through times when you felt like you had to be strong, responsible, and constant. Even when you felt love, something inside you broke quietly. You wiped your face quickly in the bathroom, pretending it was just hypersensitivity reactions. You turned away from the mirror, so you wouldn't see your own pain staring back at you. You whispered, I am excellent, even when your voice shook and your soul felt anything but excellent. But through it all, I was closer than your breath, watching over you and protecting every unspoken sorrow with a tenderness that was deeper than anything else. you'd received from anyone else. There were mornings when you woke up already tired, nights when you broke down from something you couldn't even name, and afternoons when you kept yourself busy so you wouldn't have to feel the pain that pulsed below the floor. Even when you thought no one knew, no one cared, and no one saw, I did. I saw how your heart tightened as someone's words went deeper than they knew. I saw how diligently you tried to stay hopeful, even when disappointment seemed to cast a shadow over your spirit. I observed your strong desire for someone to genuinely comprehend you, attentively listen to you, and remain by your side. You carried a pain that others didn't see. You hid wounds behind laughter. You concealed your true feelings to prevent burdening those who were not meant to carry your heart in the first place. But know this: every tear you shed alone has been held in my compassion, and none of them have been wasted. You thought the one's tears were signs of weakness, but they were actually signs of your strength. Proof that even when you were breaking, you refused to give up. They were prayers you didn't know how to form, pleas you didn't have words for, and longings you couldn't put into words. I heard them all. Or even now, as you remember those painful moments, I'm gently reminding you that I have always been present, usually attentive, usually looking with love, not judgment. Those tears are no longer proof of your failure. They were proof of your humanity and my closeness. As you continue to walk with me on this journey, I can show you how the one's tears have watered the ground under your feet, making you ready for healing you once thought was impossible. You are seen. You always have been. If you've ever asked yourself, Lord, when will it be my turn? I've heard it all. You've observed the positive aspects of others' lives and questioned why your own life seemed to stagnate. You've praised others while privately feeling sad. You've tried to be grateful for what you have while wondering why what you want seems so close to others, but so far away from you. And I want you to know that I never shamed you for asking. Your question was a sign of disbelief. It was a sign of longing. It was a sign of hope, still alive, under the weight of putting it off. You've battled feelings you didn't dare admit out loud, like jealousy and unhappiness that didn't make sense. You tried to hide your frustration because you thought it made you ungrateful. But every time you whispered, Lord, I responded with persistence, not anger, with compassion, not condemnation. I know the pain of reading better than anyone else. I understand what it feels like for your heart to yearn for something that your fingers have yet to reach. I know the pain of the in-between. This is the space where you're no longer who you once were, but you're also not where you wish to be. But pay attention. I never ignored those questions. You might have felt like you were talking into the wind, but every syllable, every sigh, and every second of emotional exhaustion reached me. And even though I didn't find a solution at the time you thought I would, my silence turned into an endless absence. Timing, preparation, and alignment. You weren't ready because I forgot about you, but you were ready because what I had planned requires maturity, strength, and capacity. You didn't know you were growing. You were counting the days and wondering how much longer you had to endure the season. I was counting your boom, not the minutes on a clock. I was shaping your heart to keep the very thing you've been praying for. I was putting together the information that needed to fall into place behind the scenes. I was waiting for the miracle to happen for you. Not someone else, not a model of you from the past, but the you who is here now, stronger from everything you've been through. So when you ask me, when is it your turn? I didn't forget about you or put it off out of kindness. I'm behind schedule because the miracle I'm working on for you needs real time. And that time is coming up faster than you think. Let me tell you something you're afraid to say it out loud. You feel like time is walking away from you faster than you can catch it. But I want you to know that time is not your enemy, because I hold every second, and every season in my hands. You have looked back at your life and wondered if you missed your chance, if you waited too long, or if circumstances took what should have been yours. You have watched the calendar pages turn and felt pressure tighten around your heart, telling you that you're behind schedule, that you've wasted too much time to ever get it back. That voice isn't always mine, though, my beloved. You measure your life by clocks, end dates, time, and milestones, but I work outside of all of these. You worry that you don't have enough time left, but you forget that I made time, and I'm not sure what you are limited by. While you fear that too many years have been lost, I am prepared to restore the years you believed were forever gone. You fret about delays, but I'm using them to avoid harm. Time bends to my will, not the other way around. When you observe those who appear to be ahead of time, you may feel that you're lagging behind, but in reality, you're perfectly aligned with the destiny I've crafted specifically for you. I didn't plan your journey to fit everyone else's. Your timeline is unique, planned, and divinely orchestrated. You've been afraid of endings and loss, but I am the God who writes new beginnings and resurrects. You've been afraid of the ticking clock, but I am the God who stops, slows, speeds up, and redeems time. I can return everything slipping through your hands to you in greater measure. Don't let life's business make you think you're too late for my grace, plans, or miracles. You are in a time when time is moving towards you, not away from you. As these words spread, I'll show you that your waiting isn't proof I forgot you, but proof of my precision. You fear time because you think you are racing against it. But listen to me, time isn't outrunning you. I'm orchestrating it around you. Let this sink in. The stress in your life doesn't mean I've left. It means you're about to make a big change. You have been reading the intensity as a sign that something has been wrong, that something is off track, or that something has slipped past repair. But just listen to me. The last sign that change is happening underground is often pressure. You are not being overwhelmed. You are being reshaped. You are not being punished. You are being placed. You are not being overwhelmed because you are weak, but because you are moving into something stronger than you have ever known. You have been wondering why everything seems harder now than it did before, why the battle is heavier, why your emotions are more volatile, why your mind feels more worn out, and why your persistence seems stretched thin. But, baby, stress will rise right before launch. A seed buried in the ground feels the most tension when it breaks open to sprout. A mother feels the strongest contractions right before giving birth, and the night is darkest minutes before dawn. If you're feeling stressed, it means that something is about to start. You thought the war was a sign of your flaws, but you're really feeling the weight of what's to come. When you prayed for growth, you probably didn't know that it requires stretching. When you prayed for power, you didn't know that it's built through resistance. You didn't expect the ground to tremble when you asked to take a step forward. But I'm using this stress to bring out something in you that has been dormant until now. You may feel like you're being pressed on every level emotionally, financially, spiritually, and mentally. But that pressing is making you stronger, giving you faith, clarity, and knowledge. You are becoming someone who will get the miracle and keep it going. There's a model of you rising through this stress who will walk with confidence, authority, and spiritual adulthood that you didn't have in earlier seasons. Just so you know, the pressure isn't always random or mean. Occasionally it's helpful. Sometimes it's a divine practice. Occasionally it's the clear sign that your next step forward has begun. You don't have to run away from it anymore. Let's go through it together, knowing that every bit of stress is pushing you toward the miracle you've been waiting for. Take this circumstance seriously. You thought that the delay in your life meant I didn't like you. However, I'm telling you now that the delay wasn't a punishment. It was an opportunity to learn. You felt guilty for times when things seemed slow, stuck, or unproductive. You blamed yourself for schedules you couldn't change, opportunities that didn't open up, and desires that wouldn't come true. However, my restraint was not driven by anger. Rather, I was genuinely preparing you for the very event you eagerly anticipated. The delay you didn't like turned out to be the protection you needed. It seemed like no one was paying attention to you or giving you support, and you wondered if you were missing something important like discipline, skill, or desire, or if it was even worth it. But the truth is that you weren't missing anything. I was strengthening you so that when the miracle came, you wouldn't fall apart under its weight. What seemed like inaction turned into inner strengthening. What felt like stagnation turned into sacred instruction. I was teaching you to endure, discern, agree, and grow in ways you couldn't see yet. Delays have a way of touching your religion. They force you to face your fears, your doubts, and your impatience. They show you the parts of your heart that are still in charge. And even though the process was annoying, even painful, it changed your desires in a subtle way. I taught you to hear my voice over the noise of your situations. You do not seek the blessing solely for the purpose of being tested. Rather, you desire it because you have developed into the individual capable of managing it effectively. If I had granted your wish too soon, it would have hurt, distracted, and distanced us. But now, after the reading, stretching, and refining, you are ready in ways you weren't before. You are smarter and more humble. Do you feel spiritually awakened to what? And the delay that made you feel unhappy will soon show itself as the foundation that made the miracle possible. So let's move on, knowing that every delay was part of the divine plan, shaping you for what comes next. Allow me to briefly reveal the aspects of your life that you have been oblivious to. Others saw your outward energy, your determination, and your ability to keep going, but they didn't know the private work that was going on beneath the surface. I was shaping your faith in moments so subtle that you didn't even realize they were divine. When you felt alone, I taught you to rely on me. When you felt unnoticed, I taught you that my recognition is more important than human praise. When you weren't sure, I taught you to trust me. Even when you weren't, you thought the quiet times were empty, but they were actually the most spiritually productive parts of your life. I wasn't quiet, I ran. I wasn't distant, I wove. I wasn't holding back. My role was to fortify your inner world, enabling your outer world to expand without disrupting your foundation. Religion isn't always built in groups. It's often built in solitude. It's strengthened when you choose to agree, even when nothing seems likely. When you whispered prayers that seemed to go unanswered, I was building your perseverance. When you chose to rise again after being unhappy, I was building your resilience. When you forgave someone who never apologized, I was building your grace. When you were hoping again after feeling hopeless, I was nurturing your spiritual adulthood. Others don't know how fiercely you fought to stay faithful. They don't know the nights you prayed until your voice shook. They don't know the battles you fought in silence. They don't know the temptations you refused, or the tears you shed, or the courage it took to keep believing. But I know. I saw it all. Every moment you spent in silence has built up your faith. And now that quiet foundation is ready to be the stage for the miracle you're about to see. What I built in secret will protect what I show in public. And what I cared for in silence will grow into what I pour out in public. Continue with the assurance that no aspect of your journey has gone unnoticed or overlooked. Silence has strengthened you, preparing you to shine when the time is right. Listen carefully to what I have to say. You have become stronger in ways you didn't even realize. This increase in power isn't a coincidence. I've been building it up in you layer by layer, moment by moment. You often only see the hard times in your life, when you felt worn out and pushed past your limits, even if you didn't know it. But I saw something different in those times. I saw the development of a strength you didn't know you had. You thought you were just surviving, but I was building a strength that would soon be unstoppable. Each time you persisted despite the urge to surrender, a part of you expanded. Every time you chose hope when despair seemed easier, something inside you sped up. When you don't let worry control your decisions, something deep inside your spirit grows stronger. You've been low on yourself because you often judge your strength by your emotions, not realizing that real strength is solid in the anxiety between your weakness and my grace. You felt fragile, but you still had power building underneath the ground. There were days when you felt emotionally, mentally, and spiritually drained, but you kept going. You chose to accept it as true. You kept leaning into me even though you didn't recognize me. You called it survival, but I call it energy, an electricity I intentionally feed because I know what's coming. I let beneficial things happen to you without stopping them from building you. I let certain frustrations stop you from growing, but instead make you stronger. I let difficult situations not shame you, but instead make you sharper. You asked for boom, and I answered by giving you experiences that made you dig deeper, stand firmer, and learn how to agree with me more fully. You think you studied strength, which comes when things are straightforward, but real strength comes when things aren't clear, but you kept walking. It's in the moments of stretching that spiritual endurance is built. And now, even if you don't realize it, you've changed. You bring the steadiness that comes from storms and the understanding that comes from struggles. There is a kind of bravery that comes from worry, and everything is getting you ready for the miracle that is coming. The responsibility that comes with the blessing is holy, so you need to be stronger for what's coming. You won't just get what you pray for, you'll keep it. And this electricity, the only one I've been building slowly and deliberately, is the very electricity that will keep you steady in the next chapter you are about to enter. Those fights that made you question your worth were never meant to define you. They were meant to teach you, shape you, refine you, and bring you together for the value of what I have planned. You've been through internal and external conflicts that made you wonder if something was wrong with you. You wondered why life seemed harder for you than for others. You wondered why you had to endure attacks that felt personal and constant. You wrestled with the idea that maybe you were inadequate, unchosen, or disliked. That being said, baby, the battles you fought were signs that you were called, not signs that you were unworthy. You only are attacked on that stage when what's inside you threatens the darkness. There were times when harsh words, broken relationships, unresolved conflicts, and disappointments hurt your heart. But even then, you were being trained. You were learning patience, kindness, self-awareness, and religious discernment. You were learning to separate your identity from your circumstances, to understand that your worth isn't based on how people treat you, how life goes, or the failures you've faced. You were learning to ground your identity in something eternal. In me, you wondered if the battle meant you had done something wrong. As you embark on this new season, it's important to understand that those I'm preparing for more influence, greater effect, and religious authority often face battles. If every storm shakes your sense of worth, you can't bring forth the blessing I'm planning for you. I use your battles to teach you to stand firm, rise above lies, and walk in confidence. Those painful reports taught you to tell the difference between real and fake. They taught you to trust your instincts and protect your peace so you wouldn't lose yourself when I raise you. The battles shaped your personality, cleaned up your motives, and strengthened your trust in me. The battles no longer made you less valuable. They made it public. They brought out the energy in you. They woke up the calling in you. In addition, they got you ready for the harvest that is coming soon. It didn't weaken you now. You learned things. And that education is ready to tell you why. Clear your mind as you hear this, and let it sink in deeply into your tired mind. As of right now, you are not behind, late, or past due. You are perfectly in sync with my divine timeline for your lives. You've compared your progress to that of others, comparing your experience to that of people who seem to be further along, faster, more successful, and more settled. Many times, you've thought about your life and wondered if you missed chances, wasted years, or took too long to heal, grow, or get it all together. But I want to tell you that your journey has matched my thoughts. For what I'm about to do next, you are precisely where you need to be. You think you're behind because you can see other people's timelines. You no longer see the work I've been doing inside of you, though. You can't see the spiritual progress you've made anymore. The religious strength that has grown invisibly. The skill that has been honed through your struggles. My schedules don't make sense to people. I'm no longer limited by my age, the seasons, time, or important events. With the way I move my hands, you can do in a second what other people take years to do. Things that didn't seem to be on time can suddenly move faster. Nothing that seemed asleep can wake up in an instant. You're not behind. You are getting things in order. You're not slowing down. You are being put somewhere. We haven't forgotten about you. You are getting better. Every part of your story has led you to this important point where things are changing. Before starting your next season, you needed time to heal from some wounds. You needed time to let go of beneficial people, styles, and fears that couldn't go with you into your future. You asked for time to build up the strength you need for the blessing I'm sending. You had to learn to handle what I'm about to give you with grace. Your adventure doesn't waste any of its parts. Now, not the swindlers, the delays, the heartbreaks, or the seasons that go back and forth. Every moment has been a part of a tapestry that is much more complicated than what you can see now. After some time, you'll see that you weren't late when you come back. You had been shown the way. You have been shaped. You were getting ready for a way of life that fits you, honors you, and blesses you in ways you could never have imagined. Leave the worry of being behind you. Let go of the pressure that's building up. Let go of the guilt for what you think you've been studying for too long. You are perfectly timed for the impending miracle. As we wait, you may begin to realize that my timing has always been impeccable. Please pay close attention, as this touch is exactly where your desire has waned. You've seen other people move into times of blessing, take action, and answer prayer. And somewhere inside you wondered if I gave it to you. However, I want to assure you that I have not forgotten about you for a single moment. You have praised others while quietly dealing with the pain of your own unfulfilled desires. It was great to cheer for them, pray for them, and be happy with them. But then, in the quiet of your heart, a whisper said, "Lord, did you forget about me? Did you skip over my name? Did you make a decision, or did someone else become someone more deserving?" You tried to shut it out, but it kept going off every time someone else shared beneficial news. You felt favorable for them but uneasy for yourself. Additionally, it was your own thoughts that prevented you from feeling gratitude. But listen to me, that H failed to disqualify you. It discovered the intensity of your choice and the honesty of your heart. When you saw someone else's miracle happen, you thought it meant your own was getting farther away. However, that isn't always how my timing works. What I do for another is not an announcement of what you're lacking. It's a reminder of what is possible. Your blessing became in no way a barrier to yours. Their leap forward changed into, in no way a hazard on your destiny. The miracles you saw happen in other people's lives were signs that I'm changing, that I'm present, and that I'm doing something for them while I do something for you, and vice versa. You had stopped skipping. You were being put somewhere. The plan did not account for some of the benefits you desired. There were chances you liked that would have been detrimental for you if they came up too quickly. There were people you longed for who didn't want to walk with you through your next bankruptcy. Everything that seemed like a lie turned out to be true. What seemed like silence turned into careful music. And the blessings you saw being given to other people were not meant to make you feel bad. They were meant to strengthen your faith and reassure you that I am still the God who moves, answers, and shows up in strange ways. I saw you having fun with other people while you didn't know your season was almost over. Your faith has kept you strong, even when your heart felt soft. I fully understand this, because I've seen you stay trustworthy in places where you felt like no one could see you. We haven't forgotten about you. You are remembered in ways you don't yet understand. People have written your name in places you haven't gone. Your answer is growing in places you haven't been. Your blessing is taking shape in places you haven't seen yet. You'll soon be able to see that I never forgot about you. I used to be saving something really cool and special just for you. Let me tell you a fact that will change how you feel about every second of waiting. That miracle you have been praying for has been approaching you for an extended period, even before you perceived any change. You're used to that silence, that supposed lack of activity, that stillness that means nothing is happening, and that lack of proof that means progress has been lost. Since the motion was not visible to you, you assume that there was no motion whatsoever. On the other hand, miracles almost never show up in their early stages. A lot of the time, the most significant breakthroughs happen in the invisible world long before they become visible to you. Even though you couldn't feel it, it was happening. You mentioned prayers that appeared to effortlessly ascend into the air without receiving any response. You didn't know that those prayers set off a chain of events in the unseen globe. I was putting together people you haven't met yet. I was opening doors that you haven't been through yet. I was switching things around in ways that you had no idea about. I was preparing for opportunities that were not yet ready to present themselves. Miracles move along paths, and yours started to change as soon as you asked. However, at times, a miracle must mature and reach its full potential before it can encounter you. Think about how the seasons change. Spring starts a long time before the first flower blooms. Think about how dawn tactics start the sun rising before the sky even shows the mild. In the same way, your miracle began to happen long before it showed up in your life. What you think of as postponement turned out to be the beginning of something profound. Details needed to be put in order, hearts needed to be softened, and situations needed to be moved. You prayed for a big answer, and big answers need divine coordination. Additionally, the miracle kept happening, even when you were down, when you had doubts, and when you were sure nothing was happening. You kept moving forward in your life for a steady, unstoppable reason. You didn't waste time waiting. There was nothing you were excited about. You've been excited to be happy. The lack of proof was never proof that there was none. Now more than ever, you're close. There is no lost miracle. He isn't always stuck. He isn't always turned down. This is a fantastic method. You might soon come back and realize that the times you thought were empty were actually the times when the miracle grew stronger. Let this truth sink into the parts of your heart that hurt from disappointment as well. Everything that has happened to you, every closed door, detour, delay, unanswered prayer, and no longer, has been meant to help you. It is meant to help you. You saw those moments as rejection, but I saw them as a chance to move on. They were meant to protect you, but you saw them as a loss. You thought they were setbacks, but they were really just opportunities. Although you felt regret about the doors that closed, I found satisfaction in the traps you successfully kept at bay. I was pleased about the risks that never materialized, while you were disappointed about the opportunities that were lost. You likely didn't know what was on the other side of the doors you begged me to open. I did, though. You saw what you wanted to see. I picked up on what you wanted. You saw the short-term way out. I noticed that the long-term fate was set. You felt better right away. I saw long-lasting happiness. Occasionally, I must close doors that your heart desires to pass through, as they lead to destinations where your soul cannot flourish. I should sometimes let detours happen, because the direct route might not have been ready for you. Not yet is often best, as it helps rather than hurts. Every turn, every shift, and every unexpected event had been part of a unique plan. You think you studied and wandered, but in reality, someone has been leading you. You look to become lost, but I was directing you in a different direction. You may have chosen the longer path, but I prevented you from taking shortcuts that could have resulted in greater costs than you anticipated. The places you thought were dead ends turned out to be truly divine turning points. Those who departed paved the way for those destined to enter. There was room for something much bigger after the chances that didn't work out. As I hold out the next few words, you'll begin to understand how each step, even the tough ones, led you to this point. You're not late. You have not lost your way. You're not off beam. You are right where you need to be for the miracle that is almost here. Your journey has no longer been a maze of mistakes, but a map of divine knowledge. Soon enough, the doors that open will make everything else make sense. Listen to me with the weight of a holy goal. I was already preparing your life for the future, before you even noticed anything was different. You often think your journey is due to luck, chance, or your choices. That being said, there's a much larger plan unfolding behind the surface of your perception. Every person who came into your life, every person who left, every chance you took, and every situation you changed without thinking. It all happened by chance. I've been weaving threads together that you had no idea were there. You could feel the stress, but you couldn't see the tapestry. You were confused by the chaos and didn't understand that it turned into creation. You saw scattered pieces, but I saw a way of putting things together. There have been times when you didn't understand why some relationships changed so quickly. There were times when you couldn't understand why doors you thought would open didn't actually open. Why unexpected duties were put on your shoulders. Why benefits that seemed out of nowhere came true. However, this is the truth. I've been putting together the exact ingredients you need for the season you're entering. A few people had to leave, so they wouldn't get in the way of your progress. Some had to write, because they make something important to your future. Some conditions had to fall apart, because their foundations weren't strong enough to support what I'm taking you through. Some had to push up, because they were divinely timed stepping stones. You were found not by your strength, or by taking a chance, but by my deliberate hand. Even the times that felt like setbacks were planned to change the direction of your progress. You thought you were stuck, but I was moving the floor below you. You thought you were lost, but I was leading you through a forest that your eyes weren't trained enough to see. You thought you were waiting for alignment, but I'm here to tell you that it's been happening the whole time. A music, and you might soon see how important each part was. It will make sense to time it. People are going to gain experience. The wait times will make sense. What seemed scattered will suddenly come together, and you'll know that I've been preparing the world around you just as much as I've been preparing your heart. So, go forward without stress. You are not in the wrong place. You are just where you need to be for what comes next. Allow this fact to sink in deeply. Heaven has planned every step you've taken, so the path you took was never random. You have reflected on your journey and wondered if you made the wrong choices, missed the signs, got the seasons wrong, or turned left when you should have turned right. You've been curious about the zigzags, pauses, detours, and sudden starts and stops. However, I wish to inform you that I have been guiding your steps all along, despite your lack of awareness. Not anything in your direction had been wasted. Not a single step. There have been days when you moved ahead uncertainly, trembling with doubt and feeling your way through the darkness. There had been days when you made decisions with tears in your eyes, praying you were not making a mistake. There had been days when you felt directionless, thinking, unsure of in which direction you had been going. But you had never been wondering. You were being led. You were in no way lost. You have been being redirected. You were by no means aimless. You have been placed. Each step, even those you regretted, even those you puzzled over, even those you made in a weak moment or out of fear, has been woven right into a divine choreography. You spot a path, I see an adventure. You notice interruptions, I see orchestration. You notice confusion, I see development. You walked away from what no longer suited you, because heaven whispered electricity into your spirit. While you stayed somewhere longer than you wanted to, it turned into that due to the fact that heaven became constructing endurance. Whilst you shifted road abruptly, it was due to the fact heaven opened a new lane below your feet. There had been moments while you requested, Lord, is this simply the way? And heaven spoke back not with phrases, but with invisible steerage, a peace right here, a soreness there, an open door, a closed possibility, a surprising prompting, and an inner knowing. I've surrounded you with symptoms, even while you did not apprehend them as signs and symptoms. I've whispered through instances even when they felt chaotic. I've aligned environments even when they felt unexpected. So understand this. The direction you strolled turned into not the route you chose alone. It became a route chosen for you, with you, via you. Heaven has choreographed every step to ensure you arrive where you need to be this season. Stroll forward now, knowing you are not entering a state of uncertainty. You are moving into the future. Permit this revelation to enter the innermost parts of you. The very second you believed nothing was going on, nothing was shifting, and nothing was transferring, that became the moment I was operating at the maximum. You frequently gauge progress by using what you can see, contact, or feel. If there are not any visible adjustments, you anticipate I am silent or indifferent. But the finest religious movements start within the unseen, where your eyes can't understand and your feelings can't interpret. You thought the quiet season intended abandonment. However, it surely supposed acceleration. You had the notion that my silence meant a state of being inactive. However, it meant approach. You had the idea that the intended stillness meant you had been forgotten, but it meant your miracle was being carefully assembled. Days when you felt like your prayers were bouncing off the ceiling. Days when you whispered my call and felt no response. There were days when you sought guidance and received nothing but silence. But that silence wasn't absence. It becomes concentration. I was working in methods you couldn't realize, shifting circumstances around you, aligning humans past you. We are preparing solutions for the future ahead of you. At the same time as you felt forgotten, I used to be securing your future. Take into account this. Seeds do their finest developing underground, hidden, unseen, and silent. And yet, in that hiddenness, the maximum critical transformation takes place. Your lifestyle has mirrored this. Within the seasons in which the entirety appears, nevertheless, my work became maximally active. In the seasons where nothing made sense, my method changed into maximum particularity. Within the seasons in which you felt stuck, I used to be unlocking matters you will later step into. I labored in conversations you by no means heard, in rooms where your name changed into mentioned, in hearts I used to be softening, in opportunities I used to be making ready, and in barriers I used to be putting off. You had no idea anything was taking place, but the entirety took place just past your discipline of vision. Simplest now, will you begin to apprehend how tons has been unfolding underneath the surface? So listen to me. Silence is not abandonment. Stillness is not a pastime. Putting off isn't always denial. When you noticed nothing, I used to be working. While you felt nothing, I used to be transferring. When you sensed nothing, I used to be building. And shortly what changed into hidden turns into visible. What was delayed will be introduced. And what changed into silence will speak loudly for your existence. Let this truth shake the concern out of your worries. Whilst your status on your nowadays, I've already walked through your the following day, inspected each hour of it, and prepared every element earlier than you ever take a single step into it. You fear what you can't see. It's the unknowns, the uncertainties, and the opportunities that keep you awake at night. You replay scenarios in your mind, trying to anticipate outcomes, brace yourself for unhappiness, or put yourself together for a surprising exchange. However, toddlers recognize this. There is not a single unwed moment in your future that would remain a mystery to me. Long before you get there, I have already been there. I've walked via the choices you may make, the conversations you may have, the challenges you'll face, and the advantages you will include. Nothing astonishes me, and nothing eludes me. Nothing unfolds without my attention. People who worry about the future are trying to navigate their way through it while having trouble seeing. One step at a time is all you can see. I am able to perceive the entire journey, including all its unexpected turns, concealed advantages, and unexpected breakthroughs. I can see how the enemy is going to stop you. Power is already where it needs to be. I can see where doubt wants to creep in, and I've already put things there to remind you of my promise. I know which doors look shut, and I've already made keys that you haven't seen yet. I'm getting ready before you arrive, despite your expectation that I'll be waiting with you. I don't see you the next day for yours. I led you to it. You're worried about choices that may have already been answered. You're not sure which of your wants I've already met. You have been afraid of things that won't happen, because I've already changed how they will turn out. When you go into your tomorrow, you'll find me there, not rushing to make changes because of the situation, but standing by, having planned everything to bless, develop, strengthen, and position you. You don't need to worry about what will happen. There's nothing to be afraid of next. You don't have to worry about the next day, because I've already built solutions into the tough situations. Your future is full of grace because of me. I've laid out your path with kindness. I have arranged meetings, created opportunities, and experienced divine moments to reach out in ways you never imagined. Take a deep breath, kid. The next day is not a danger. I have already set it up for you with love and care. Pay attention to what I say. Things that seemed frozen, stuck, unmoving, and unchanging will suddenly change during this season. They won't change slowly or regularly, but with a speed that will feel almost shocking to you. You've dealt with situations that don't seem to move. You've dealt with situations that felt too close to open. You have prayed over parts of your life that didn't seem open to change. 4. See you later. You experienced the sensation of pressing against unyielding walls, grasping doorways that refused to open, and awaiting responses that remained elusive. You started to wonder if things would ever change, the longer they stayed the same. But understand this, some seasons call for stillness until the right time to move comes around. Some big steps forward can't happen until everything falls into place. Some changes can't happen until I say now. And the present moment is coming in your life. Your next bankruptcy won't always leave you in a state of stagnation. It speeds up a lot faster than that. What was delayed will get better. What was silent will speak. When something is limited, it will break free. But I will love a lot. In places where you never saw resistance, you'll see movement. Before anything else, it might feel like a stirring. An internal moving, heightened sensitivity, new hope, or sudden strength. Thereafter, doors will start to move. People will start talking. Opportunities will show up. Some relationships will change. Things will be carried. Things that didn't seem possible will suddenly become possible. It matters that, when needed, a successful attempt will start to come together without any problems. This is not because you have changed, but rather because the season has transformed you. As you enter bankruptcy, God's timing and your obedience come together to create a momentum that can't be stopped. You will understand something crucial when this motion starts to change. The stillness you didn't like turned out to be the foundation that made the shift possible. The delay you were afraid of with the practice that made sure the speeding up wouldn't kill you is now. You did not get caught. In this area, you have been held until the right time to launch. So put your spirit together. What seemed like it couldn't move is about to, and it will move quickly. Please take this matter into your heart with respect. The breakthrough that once seemed impossible, unreachable, unrealistic, or too big to pray for will now be easy to achieve. Not because of your power, but because I am here. You've tried for years. It's been late at night for planning. You worked diligently for years to make change happen by doing everything on your own. Every time you encountered an obstacle, the disappointment intensified. You told yourself it would take a miracle, but you had no idea that a miracle was precisely what I had been planning. Occasionally you can't force breakthroughs, advantages, or doors to open. This is because they are religious breakthroughs, not ordinary achievements. They need my help, my time, my choice, and my presence. And after I go around, there doesn't seem to be any conflict. It looks like grace. It looks like it would be easy. It looks like calm is taking the place of panic. Clarity is getting rid of confusion. Chances come to you instead of you having to chase them. Things that you couldn't get your kids to do will make sense. Your years of prayers will start to come true. In just a few days, the things that were holding you back will fall away without you having to do anything. That's right. The breakthroughs that need hard work will come easily because I can be the pressure behind them. The path transforms from a daunting obstacle to a smooth path. What seemed like chains will turn into open gates. What seemed too much will fade into relief. Furthermore, remember that this ease of use doesn't mean it was unearned. This method is backed by God. You stood there, waited, believed, and kept going. It was a secret war you fought. No one noticed the weight you carried. You stayed committed even though you wanted to give up. Now the discharge will happen, but not because you pushed, but because of my electricity. Stay close to me. Stay with me, because the leap forward that's happening this season is something you won't have to chase. It's miles of something as a way to get to you. Listen to this with a force that cuts through every scary idea. You're worried that you'll run out of time. On the other hand, time is not in charge of your fate. It's not at all a servant of my will, but it does what I say about your life. You've looked at the calendar, the clock, and the years that have passed and felt your soul tighten. You've been telling yourself, it's too late. I should have been there earlier. I missed my chance. I wasted too many seasons. I lost too much time. You've let age, time, regret, and contrast make you feel like something valuable has been lost. But pay attention, because nothing you own can be taken away from my electricity, and nothing I have planned for you could go wrong. Now time doesn't hold me back. I keep it going, bend it, multiply it, amplify it, and recover it. You felt like time was against you, because you measure your life by human milestones. You look at where other people are and decide that you need to be there too. You think that studied sluggish means that the work is late. You saw stillness, manner, and a lack of movement. You saw the off-putting attitude get worse. However, I do outdoor work on your clocks in circles. I don't rush because of time, and it doesn't stop me either. When I decide to transport it, I will expedite a process that could have taken years to complete in a matter of seconds. I will bring back what you thought was lost a long time ago. I can bring back to life things you buried. I will make up for what you wasted. I don't always waste time. It's changed a lot. You were afraid during the years you had to wait. But the years before that were not empty. They were running for you to shape you, put you in the right place, and get you ready. You're not behind. You are in sync. You're not past due. You've arrived at the right time, where everything fits in the end. This maxim is also true for the season you're entering now. Time doesn't change your calling. Sure, your future is not set by time. Sure, time has nothing to do with when your miracle happens. Sure, I am taking time to want you. I am telling time to open things that were closed before. I am manipulating time to resurrect opportunities you once believed had vanished forever. I'm telling time to bring the harvest from the seeds you forgot you planted. And as this happens, you may remember that you never wanted more time. You wished my timing very well, and the time is getting closer for me. Let this revelation change every hopeless conclusion you've come to. The thing you thought was too late is actually coming right on time, according to my plan for your life. You looked at situations that didn't seem like they could be fixed. Your ideas, dreams were dead. The chances you agreed to had passed. You thought some relationships could never get better. Seasons that you thought were over for good. You told yourself, it's too late for this. Too much time has passed. You've inflicted too much damage. Too much has changed you. But you're talking from a limited human perspective. I see your whole life. The past you lived, the present you're living, and the future I've already planned. And from that eternal perspective, I say that nothing that is mine is ever too late. You have thought late, intended, and lost. But with me, past due and frequently approached perfectly align. A promise delayed is not a promise denied. It's a promise kept until its appointed hour. You think earlier might have been better, simpler, and easier. But earlier could have found you unprepared, unaware, and unformed in the ways you need to succeed now. You need to help the wound heal. Some thoughts are broken. Yes, information being certain. A certain door, a certain pedal round. And yes, growing earlier would have killed you. But now you have the persistence, resilience, discernment, and self-awareness to get what you thought was beyond you. I'm an expert at resurrection, which means giving life to things that are thought to be dead, finding things that are thought to be lost, and bringing life to things that look like they're dead. When I get involved, time bends, events change, new opportunities arise, and things that were thought to be permanently fixed start to appear with supernatural ease. You say it's past due. I name it on time. Soon, you'll see that the timing you were questioning was the very thing that covered you. Your miracle isn't too early or too late. The mail is clear, and it's on its way. Get this truth with humility and a plan. Some benefits didn't come right away, not because you weren't worthy, but because your heart wasn't ready to handle what you were asking for yet. You prayed with a level of intensity that you hadn't reached yet. You wanted blessings that came with being an adult, which you weren't yet, for responses that stemmed from healing that had not yet occurred within you. You wept. You think, put off means to refuse, but postpone means to coach. Help me out, please. It's not your situation, your chances, or your surroundings. Because once the blessing comes, you have to carry it, keep it safe, and manage it. There were times when you messed up what you now like. Doubt, fear, and impatience could have ruined your promise. You had to heal the weak, reactive, and hurt parts of your heart before you could get what you prayed for. I care about you too much to offer you something that could hurt you. To receive the benefits you asked for, you had to first become whole. You asked me about opportunities that would require you to first get smarter. You asked me to do miracles, but first you had to become constant. But I didn't wait to punish you. I did it to keep you safe. These are not meant to hold you back, but to keep you together. I waited until the worry went away before I emphasized your religion. I waited until your judgment improved and your sense of self strengthened before giving you the blessing I waited until your heart felt safe. Now, with your heart reshaped, softened, healed, stretched, strengthened, and matured, you're finally prepared to grasp something that previously eluded you. The blessing is all set. And now, finally, you are too. Listen to me say this. I have power over you in a way that you can't dispute. Due to your religion having grown, the person you are now is not the same as the person who once doubted, feared, or broke under the weight of stress. And your spirit has been gentle through every fire, typhoon, tear, and long night that you thought would never end. You've been through rough times in your life. There were times when you were tested beyond what you thought you could handle. There are times when your faith is so tested that it feels like it might break. But right now you're not broken, you're strengthened. It's in your mind that the method is the simplest pain. But I was using every second to make it easier for you to accept what was true, to keep you grounded in reality, and to control you for the benefits that come with having a mature religion. I wouldn't let those times break you anymore. I allowed them to consume what you were unable to carry with you when you filed for bankruptcy once more. You prayed for more things, and more things need a cultured vessel. Because you've been through the whole adventure, you can't see how far you've come. Many people have been ignoring you as you walked through the refining, but I saw the change happening under the floor. While I waited for the answer, I watched you learn to agree with me. I saw you choose desire, even though worry was screaming louder. I see that you keep praying even when there's nothing to trade. You learn to lean on me. Now, not because things got easy, but because they were uncertain. If you don't question your faith, it will never grow. Your faith will remain firm and unwavering. Faith that isn't improved in any way never grows up. Now, no matter what you've been through, what stands in you is faith. Your trust isn't just based on feelings, circumstances, or comfort. It's based on miles of truth, strengthened by fun, and thrown in the fire. Your spirit has become better. You're not falling apart like you used to. You don't get as scared as you did the first time. Even when unexpected changes occur, you remain resilient. Since you have observed me adapt for your sake previously, you understand how to sustain your composure amid uncertainty. You no longer concern yourself with waiting, as you recognize that tardiness does not necessarily indicate that someone has abandoned you. You've learned to walk with confidence, now that you know who is walking with you. I would appreciate it if you could find a way to ensure my voice is heard above the doubt. You now know how to read my hand, even when it comes to small things. This improvement isn't always an accident. It's not even close to intentional. You are now ready to receive what I am releasing into your lives, as your faith has grown and your spirit has been strengthened. Storms used to shake your faith, but now your faith calms them down. It became important to make the change, and it's now finished. Let this truth wash over your tired heart. With my help, all of your prayers have been heard and noticed, including the quiet ones, the broken ones, and the ones you gave up on because you thought they were too small or too determined. Prayer through tears, prayer through worry, prayer through sadness, and prayer through the sun. You prayed because you didn't know what else to do. Before, you didn't feel like you were worthy to pray. You offered your prayers despite feeling exhausted and uncertain whether your words would have any significance. But your spirit's every word, sigh, and groan has reached heaven clearly and strongly. Please be aware that your prayers were not merely ambient noise during my presence. They were requests for me to paint pictures for you, There were times when you prayed for electricity because you thought you would not make it through the day. I listened to their prayers and supported you. When everything within you sought to shatter, you prayed for guidance even though you were confused. I could speak back through ultimate doors that would have hurt you and pushed you in directions you didn't even know were meant for you. Even though your heart was racing, you prayed for peace. I calmed storms around you that you hadn't even anticipated. Even though you didn't realize it at first, you prayed to feel better. Additionally, the wounds did not show up overnight, but they began to heal in ways that allow you to breathe again. You forgot to say some prayers. In the dark, prayers were whispered. Prayers are said with a hope that shakes. The prayers you were unaware of have shaped your future. I no longer forgot about them. I didn't throw them away. I failed to put them off because you weren't fit. I kept them. I took care of them. I made their timing perfect. It was like your prayers were like seeds planted in the soil of heaven, waiting for the right time to sprout and grow. Your thought was that silence meant rejection, but it often means teaching. Your concept is prepared for what you perceive as rejection, but it is truly awaiting alignment. Yes, I worked while you were praying, and even after you stopped praying. I didn't even notice a single request. I don't turn my face away from you at all. As the season progresses, you might discover responses to prayers you previously believed were unanswered. Some will arrive peacefully. Some will show up all at once. Some will approach you in a manner that will leave you breathless. They may still come, though, because I remember every word you spoke to me. Pay attention to the stirring inside you. It's not a coincidence. Your sense of urgency, your restlessness, and the sensation that something is on the verge of stopping you from opening up are all signs. That sound is heaven telling you that your life will change in a divine way. You can feel it getting stronger inside you. You have noticed that your spirit is becoming more alert. Your sensitivity is growing, and your peace is growing in ways you didn't expect. It feels like an invisible force is moving toward you, and you're not making it up. You can feel how the religious ecosystem is changing to fit your life. Before it actually happens, you can feel the rumbling of exchange. This sense of urgency isn't always a worry. It's the readiness of a prophet. Heaven is getting ready to move a person into a new season, but the spirit knows it before the mind does. You've been having changed dreams because of this. This is the real reason why your old behavior doesn't make you happy anymore. That's why excellent relationships feel so great. Why the doors you wanted so badly, so quickly don't seem to matter now. That's why your need for readability has gotten better. Because of this, you can no longer stand mediocrity. Your spirit is getting ready for the next level before your circumstances do. The changes inside you occur before they happen in the outside world. You've been feeling a holy discontent, not frustration, but rather a divine stirring that says, I'm supposed to do more. Something is coming. Something is shifting. Something is waking up the inner me. This is heaven's assertion. That is the spirit that gets you ready for action. That is alignment activating within you. I am touching your consciousness so that when the door opens, you won't hesitate. When the opportunity arrives, you'll know it. When the trade unfolds, you won't worry about it. When the miracle happens, you'll be ready to grab it. This urgency is confirmation, not confusion. It's miles of activation, not agitation. It's more proof that the time you're in is not normal. It is divinely appointed. And because I am moving things in the spiritual realm, your spirit feels momentum before the manifestation. You are not imagining the shift. You're coming into it. Listen to this with holy reverence. Your name has been spoken inside the courts of heaven. Now not in passing, no longer as an afterthought, but with authority, intention, and divine cause. And because of that, angels have been assigned to transport on your behalf. You have felt alone in your battles, unaware that there was heavenly activity surrounding your existence in approaches some distance past what you may perceive. You've walked into situations wondering if you have been sporting the load with the aid of yourself, whereas in reality, religious forces had already been clearing paths, dismantling barriers, and preparing breakthroughs before you even arrived. Your prayers, your patience, your obedience, and your faithfulness, even in small matters, have precipitated actions in states you can't see, and heaven has replied with precise orchestration. There are angels assigned to your protection, guarding you from dangers you by no means recognize had been forming around you. There are angels assigned to your guidance, nudging you away from choices that might have harmed you and towards divine possibilities you didn't understand you had been geared up for. There are angels assigned to your breakthrough, preventing battles you don't have language for, standing in opposition to darkness that desires to restrict you, lifting what you were in no way supposed to hold alone. You observed you have been taking walks unassisted. However, you've been carried extra often more than you recognize. Whilst heaven calls your call, it's far from an announcement that the time for motion has arrived. It matters. Something has shifted inside the non-secular realm. Something has been released. Something has been approved. Some things were settled. There are things being rearranged to your advantage right now. Conversations transferring, coronary heart softening, possibilities aligning, assets being organized. And while you feel the stirring in your spirit, angels are already in motion, executing what heaven has mounted. You have not been forgotten, unnoticed, unprotected, or blessed. The transformation you've been experiencing is heaven's response to your call. I'm removing obstacles from your path that you didn't even know were there. Obstacles so subtle, so deeply rooted, and so spiritually connected that even the simplest hand could want to get rid of them. You have faced difficult situations. Yes, but some of the biggest problems in your way have been hidden in people, situations, mindsets, and religious resistance that worked quietly in the background. You thought your delays were due to lack of effort, readability, or maybe lack of worth. But the barriers weren't in your way. They were in the places I needed to reach. There were human beings attached to your adventure who might have hindered your development or held you back out of worry, envy, or confusion, or manipulated you. And so I eliminated them, now not to punish you, but to guard what I'm liberating for your lifestyles. There had been possibilities that looked exact, however. They might have tired you, eaten you up, or derailed you. And so I closed the one's doorways before they could distract your destiny. There had been non-secular blockages, vintage wounds, generational patterns, and mental strongholds that wished to interrupt before your future may open. And I have been dismantling them piece by piece with the aid of peace. You failed to recognize why a few matters fell aside. You didn't apprehend why sure plans collapsed. You didn't understand why doorways didn't open. But now pay attention to me. It was in no way rejected. It changed into elimination. Removal of the matters that were quietly suffocating your development. Elimination of the seemingly harmless, but spiritually risky items was necessary. We are removing items that may hold greater significance for you than you initially realized. As I get rid of these restrictions, you may feel lighter, You'll find clarity where there was confusion. You'll feel peace where stress used to suffocate you. You may be able to move forward without any problems where you had trouble. What changed when complications became civil? This isn't a mistake, it's divine clearance. I'm making room. Room for what is meant to be for you. Room for the blessing. It's almost here. Room for the miracle that needs open space and a ready heart. Pay attention, because it's the gentlest truth I'm revealing right now. I'm freeing answers to prayers you forgot you prayed. Prayers said in exhaustion, tears, desperation, or when things were so normal that you barely thought about them. You prayed from places of deep longing, fear, and hope. But as life got busy, you forgot about those prayers. I didn't forget about them. Heaven didn't either. What you started in a weak spot, I kept alive with power. There were prayers you whispered years ago for healing, restoration, readability, identity, victory, peace, and course. You thought they would fade away as the seasons changed, but they didn't. They were saved, nurtured, cultivated, and aligned with divine timing. Some prayers weren't answered at the right time, but that's because the solution required alignment you didn't have at the time. Some solutions needed people you hadn't met yet. Others needed increases you hadn't reached yet. And others wanted situations that hadn't reached their full potential yet. But now the alignment is taking shape. There are answers drawing near your life to sense things like surprising blessings, surprising breakthroughs, and surprising clarity. However, they're no longer unexpected in any respect. They're the fulfillment of prayers you released when you felt fragile and unsure. You may soon go searching and realize that matters are converting without you striving, shifting without you pushing, and recuperating without you forcing. And you'll say, Lord, I failed to even pray for this blessing currently. And I will whisper, no, but you prayed for it as soon as I did, and I by no means forgot. Your forgotten prayers are getting remembered blessings. Your quiet petitions are getting loud stories. Your whispered requests have become visible manifestations. Not anything you prayed for becomes wasted. Nothing you asked for was left out. Nothing you hoped for changed into dismissed. And now the harvest of forgotten prayers is coming into your present. Now, not due to the fact you were best at asking, but because I used to be devoted to answering. Pay attention to me with wakened expectation. As we speak, long-buried seeds are about to sprout. These are seeds you planted in faith, tears, sacrifice, and obedience. And you are about to see the fruit of things you thought were lost forever. You thought that positive prayers and acts of kindness were ignored. And you thought that your faithfulness in hidden places wouldn't have any lasting effect. But every seed you planted, even the ones you barely remember, the ones you planted during difficult times, and the ones you sowed in moments of quiet surrender, was germinating beneath the ground, growing deeper than you thought possible. Nothing planted in love, religion, obedience, or sacrifice is ever wasted in my realm. Nothing disappears, and nothing goes unnoticed. You planted with desire, and I've been growing what you couldn't see. You planted with shaky hands, and I've been strengthening what you sowed. You planted when you were tired, and I've been planning a harvest bigger than you could have imagined. There were times when you gave up because you didn't see results right away. Was any of it added up? Heaven replied, wait. You didn't know that the seeds had been taking root, building the foundations for breakthroughs that needed time to grow. Some seeds have effects right away, while others have impacts that last for generations. Some seeds immediately garner recognition, while others yield results too significant to hasten. What seemed like silence was actually a boom. What seemed like inactivity turned out to be growth. What felt like being hidden turned out to be education. Right now, as you step into this new season, those seeds are growing into strong, plain fruit instead of weak sprouts. You gave when you didn't have much, and I made it bigger. You are forgiven even though it hurt, and I helped you get stronger. Even though I couldn't see you, you stayed trustworthy, so I remembered you. You chose honesty when there were easy ways out, and I paved the way for you. While terrible things were happening all around you, you spoke words of existence, and I considered that harvest to be a blessing. When you prayed for people who hurt you, I made you more compassionate. There was evidence that told you not to believe the guarantees, but you did anyway, and that I thought that faith was righteous. Now, the fruit isn't just happening by chance. It's the harvest of every seed you planted with a pure heart. Now is the time for you to reap, and it won't come from working diligently. It will come from God's timing. You may get back what you put in religion when you're contented. And when the fruit starts to show up, you might finally acquire it. You never forgot anything you did out of love, faith, acceptance of what was true, or obedience. It was definitely waiting for the right time. And now time is getting close to your life. Pay more attention to me with new wisdom. Each whisper told you that things might not change. Each idea said that your lives would always look the same. In each lie, it was said that your prayers or hard work had been for nothing. The enemy did it all. Everything turned out to be a lie, as it always does. You've had to fight inner voices that seemed like facts, but were really negative thoughts. It was non-secular opposition that kept you on track, because your faith shapes your thoughts, which either grow or die. Because I promised to protect your life, the enemy knew he couldn't take it. In other words, he tried to steal your idea from them. He tried to control your times of readiness by turning them into stories of hopelessness. He tried to take advantage of the fact that you were worn out so that you would stop praying. He tried to make you doubt my character by waiting too long. He used silence to try to induce you to question my presence. That being said, everything he whispered was lies, because he knows that if you keep believing, nothing will stop what I'm planning for you. You've been through battles where the best fight isn't on the outside, but inside. Your mind, your feelings, and your hopes are engaged in a silent, unseen battle. You didn't understand why discouragement hit you so hard, why hopelessness came knocking, and why worry tried to move in with you. But pay attention to what I'm saying. The strength of the attack revealed the importance of what was coming. With your gift, you don't always make the enemy afraid. He's afraid of what will happen to you. He fought you the hardest at the right times, before I changed your life, because he knows that when you do what I've planned, he will no longer be able to control you. At times, you might have believed his lies. You might have wanted to give up. You might have believed the story that said nothing could ever trade. But right now you are still in status, still studying, still accomplishing, and still waiting for. That alone shows that his lies didn't work. It turns out you're tougher than you thought. You have more spiritual power than you thought. You have more help from God than the enemy ever wanted you to know. All the lies directed against your cause are now giving way to the truth. Things are changing. Things have changed in the world. It was hard for the enemy to fight, because he could see things you couldn't. That your step forward turned into getting closer. It's now time to take apart the effect he had on your unrealistic expectations. Things are going badly for the lies. Your faith is getting stronger. The truth I'm bringing into your life will append everything the enemy tried to convince you of. I want to reveal to you what lies beneath the surface of your current struggles. Things have gotten harder, heavier, more chaotic, and more annoying to my spirit. This isn't because you're failing, rather. It's because your miracle is on the verge of completion. And the enemy always intensifies their efforts when heaven is on the verge of relinquishing the leap forward. You couldn't believe how much strain there was. There was no need for you to overreact to the unexpected emotional weight. You didn't get the tiredness, the confusion, the shocking destruction, the shocking fears, or the growing worries wrong. Those were not signs of defeat, but of closeness. Closeness to breakthrough, closeness to prayers answered, closeness to divine motion, and closeness to the change I planned long before the conflict got worse. While a door of blessing is about to open, the enemy tries to keep you from going through the part he knows is coming by distracting you, discouraging you, and draining you. He wants you to question everything about you, your worth, your identity, your growth, your wants, your prayers, and even your relationship with me. He tries to start fights, bring up old wounds and fears, and make inner battles bigger, because he knows the release is coming soon. The first part of the battle is by no means the toughest. It's the roughest right before the step forward breaks through. You asked, why now? Why do this? For some reason, it feels harder than usual. Finally, because you were getting close to the edge. Because the floor was moving around under your feet. The blessing is about to come true. Because the thing you had been praying for was slowly coming true. The enemy can't stop what I asked them to do. But he tried to stop you. To weaken your faith, your strength, and your desire, so that you wouldn't be able to see the miracle when it happened. But here you are. Still standing, still looking for, still pressing forward. I think that alone shows that you have already won battles you didn't even know you were fighting. And now the battle isn't as strong, because the miracle is getting stronger. You are moving from struggle to success, from assault to development. You are now moving on. It looks like you are moving from conflict to manifestation. Because your miracle was getting closer, the fight got worse. Now, kid, the miracle is even closer than the battle was. Pay close attention to what I say. The rise in conflict you were going through stopped being random, made up, or exaggerated. The enemy knew how valuable what was planned for you was before you even saw a hint of it. So it got worse. Understanding why the attacks felt so private, why the disappointment felt worse, why the emotional pressure felt stronger, and why your insecurity screamed louder than it had in years was difficult. You sometimes wonder if you're regressing, if something's wrong with you, or if your faith is failing. However, it wasn't a weak point, it worked out. The enemy wanted you to never get to a place where your spirit was pushing into. He became more vocal in his opposition as you got closer, because he knew about the religious change before you did. These days you've been in fights that didn't make any sense. They were not there. Little things made me feel very strongly. Old fears suddenly came back to the surface. The relationships were tense for no clear reason. For some reason, you felt waves of heaviness that were difficult to explain. Those things did not happen by chance. They were focused and tried to get in the way, distract you, and change your imagination and foresight. The enemy couldn't stop what God had already planned. He did, however, want to confuse you enough to make you stray from the course on your own. He wanted to wear you down, weaken your wish, and slowly stop you from moving forward. He wanted you to get the non-secular turbulence wrong. and think it meant abandonment instead of progress. However, this is the truth. Things got worse in the conflict because heaven's hobby sped up. Because my hand started to move, the shaking got worse. The enemy could feel the religious energy building up around you. He felt angels coming together. He could feel doors getting ready to open. He could feel blessings pulling down walls. He could feel your spirit getting stronger, your faith growing stronger, and your calling becoming clearer. He could feel a leap forward coming toward your life. That's why he tried to hit you in a way that made you feel weak. You didn't spoil, though, even in those times. You didn't fold yet. You didn't turn around. You could have cried, but you didn't. Even though you had doubts, you didn't disconnect. You might have tripped, but you didn't give up. The war is now losing its grip, because the breakthrough it was trying to stop is already on its way. You could see right away that the attack's intensity became the best sign that something useful was about to happen. This was a development that both the enemy and God were anticipating. What was meant to harm you has shown you that you're moving toward your blessing. Take some time to really understand this fact. Every attack that is aimed at you, every emotional hit, every betrayal, every setback, every intellectual war, and every religious attack is no longer a sign of where you're weak, but of your calling, your purpose, and your divine choice. You have been attacked because you have been important. It was an attack because you brought something strong. People have attacked you because you have an effect on the spirit world. Because your destiny puts them in danger, darkness attacked you. The enemy doesn't fight what doesn't bother him anymore. The intensity of the war that has been going on around you has been a direct reflection of the greatness that is inside you. You've stuck with things that other people didn't notice. You fought battles that no one could see, while still going to the arena. Despite your pain, you continued to show love. You walked through valleys, while still trying to encourage other people. The challenges you faced may have crushed others, yet you remained resilient. It looks like you bent it but didn't destroy it. Even though you tripped, you didn't fall. You kept crying. And every moment of your pain, I was making you stronger, shaping you, perfecting you, and showing you how truly chosen you are. The assaults have not been signs that I left you. There were signs and symptoms that the enemy knew what you could do. He saw that God had anointed your life before you probably did. He saw the harvest coming before you could even feel it. He knew the shift was coming and saw it coming long before you did. His thought was that if he attacked you early enough, often enough, or deeply enough, you would run away from what I had planned. But what he thought would destroy him has turned out to be confirmation. Believing in your identity, knowing how important you are, and knowing your destiny. You got through things that were meant to break you. That you made it this far shows that you are called. You persevered through challenges that could have easily taken your life. And the fact that you can keep going shows that grace is carrying you. You got past lies that were meant to change how you saw things. The fact that you are strong shows that darkness can't control your spirit. Every attack you stood up to is now proof that you were chosen for something bigger. More blessings, more reason, more power, and more progress. You are destined for more than destruction. You are not defeated just because you are marked. And everything that was meant to stop you brought out what heaven already knew. You have been picked, included, strengthened, and set up for other things. Listen to your heart with a gentle fact. The times when you quietly said, I can't do my job anymore. Those were the moments when the weight of unspoken burdens overwhelmed your strength. These were the moments when you experienced a decline in your emotions or spirituality. During those times, I was supporting and protecting you in ways you didn't fully understand. You think that your strength helped you get through those times. You didn't, though. You are still alive because I carried you. I breathed electricity into you, and you moved forward. You stopped going because my hand was on you, and your palms felt too soft to hold anything. There were times when you cried yourself to sleep because you felt alone, hurt, and empty. But I was there to protect you in a way you didn't understand. There were mornings when getting out of bed was difficult, but pushing yourself saved something inside you that became me. There were times when depression tried to take you over, but there was a soft voice in your soul telling you to keep believing. That whisper made me. You didn't have to go through it because you were strong. You kept trying because I wouldn't help you fall. You got through a breakup that could have made your heart harder, but I kept the soft side of you safe. You lived through sadness that would have stopped your wish, but I still believe in your ability to dream. You got through being alone, which could have thrown you off track, but I kept your spirit from settling for less than you deserved. You're still alive to discuss a spiritual drought that would have killed your faith, but I kept a small flame going inside you. The enemy tried over and over to put out the flame but failed. The times when you felt the most alone were when I was closest to you, not because I had to show you something, but because your spirit needed the best support I should. It seemed like everyone was holding on to you, but in reality, you were being held by a power much stronger than your own. This power is the reason you are still here. That's the reason you failed to break. That's why you didn't become lost. That's why you weren't stuck. Now that you're moving forward, I want you to understand that the reason you've reached a breakthrough isn't because you never got tired. That's because I was there for you every moment. Your electricity stopped working. I kept you alive. I kept you on solid ground. You asked me to save your breathing wish, and I can use it to keep you going now. Not just in survival, but also in the abundance that is coming your way. Take this fact in with all of your love in the back of your mind. There were times in your life when you weren't just worn out. It made you feel inadequate to continue, unfulfilled in your desires, and incapable of recovery. Regardless of the circumstances, you survived because I supported you when you were too feeble to move on your own. You went through times that were so draining that you wondered what the cost was to you. You persisted through periods when shame falsely defined your identity. You went through valleys where you felt like a burden, questioned whether or not your presence mattered, and thought about what your life was all about. Even when things were the worst, I held you close. It's not that you're strong, but rather that my love for you has always been independent of your perceived worth. You have been very hard on yourself at times, thinking you had failed too many times, fallen too far, and been let down by too many people. You were not sure if your mistakes made you less excellent. In your mind, you kept punishing yourself for choices you had already made, even though I had already forgiven you. You looked at your flaws and thought they were bigger than your price. However, young one, your value has transformed into something that cannot be quantified by the degree of perfection others possess. It becomes rooted in my love for you no matter what. You worked hard for what I did, so I didn't save you. You belonged to me, so I saved you. When you felt unworthy of love, I wrapped you in a grace that accepted your imperfections. When you felt dirty, I protected you with mercy, which cleaned up what guilt tried to stain. When you believed your heart lacked the capacity for healing, I infused your wounds with compassion. When you thought other people deserved better wishes than you, I kept whispering the truth in your spirit. You are mine. You depend on. You are very valuable. Remember that you are valuable. You deserve to be fixed up. Even when you tried to give up, my arms wouldn't let go of you. My presence stayed with you, even when you shut down from everyone else. Even if the pain made your spirit numb, my love stayed alive inside you and kept you going in a quiet, light, and faithful way. I raised your head when you couldn't do it yourself, but you didn't know it at the time. Stress attempted to steal your breath, but I restored it. I was steadying your steps while your grief tried to stop you. I kept you safe from the dark while you were too tired to wish. You persevered through seasons that you believed would consume you completely. My love wouldn't let you fall, not because you were strong enough, but because she loves you. Now, as you move forward, you really understand this. Being alive, breathing, growing, and rising again is proof that you have always been valuable. You're here because I carried you safely, and I'm still leading you toward a future that shows my love, not your old fears. Listen to me now with relief that goes deep into your heart. It has been too long that you have had to carry this emotional, mental, and spiritual weight. I am taking it off your shoulders. You attempted to carry, conceal, and manage the load on your own, but it ultimately became an unwelcome burden. Pressures you didn't put on yourself have made life difficult for you. When you didn't feel like you could keep up with your responsibilities, you took on the emotional load of people who didn't support you, and you tried to keep your balance while feeling unstable inside. Expectations, regrets, guilt, fears, and memories that you haven't shared with anyone have worn you out. Even when the weight of it all made you feel overwhelmed, you told yourself, I should just push through. But, child, pushing through was no longer the way. Give up turned into. I'm now getting rid of what was making you feel bad. You have carried burdens that came from old wounds. Wounds that told you, you need to hold everything together, or everything will fall apart. You felt the pressure to be strong, because life taught you that weakness was not acceptable. You felt ashamed about the mistakes you made in the past because you had a difficult time forgiving yourself. You carried the weight of other people's criticism because you would rather not let them down. You carried the weight of unresolved feelings because you never had a safe place to let them out. But now, I'm here to shoulder the burden and elevate what your soul can no longer bear. There is an unearthly launch coming over your life. This will not be a temporary respite, but a lasting upliftment. You can write it out first in your head, because clarity beats confusion. You might feel it in your heart as peace takes over places where there was tension. You'll feel it in your body as the stress you've been carrying around starts to fade. You might feel freer, lighter, and more stable. It's not because you changed something to make yourself feel better. It's because I'm getting rid of the things that weren't meant to be relaxing for you. You're not meant to carry the weight of your beyond. The pain of those around you shouldn't stay with you. You shouldn't worry about what might happen in the future. You shouldn't keep the emotional storms to yourself. I'm moving the heavy things. I have the impossible on my back. I'm taking away the things that were making you tired. You will find yourself again. The real you, the free you, the unburdened you, as I carry what has hurt you. This lift is the first step toward your goal. This lifting helps you get ready for the blessing that needs your shoulders to be free. The weight is going away because the season is changing, and you're starting a new phase where weight doesn't follow you. Let this reality bring the wish back to the places you shut it off. You know that some parts of you could stay hurt forever, but I'm fixing them. The wounds were too old, the disappointments were too deep, and the fears were too common. Broken parts of your heart have become a part of who you are because you've lived with them. You convinced yourself that a certain pain would never go away, that beneficial memories would always hurt, and that certain emotional wounds would never heal. It taught you to work, smile, and hold on despite pain. You got so used to being in pain that you stopped picturing getting better. But now listen to me. You thought restoration was impossible, but it's happening right now in ways you can't see. I am finally trying my best to heal the wounds that have never been completely healed. Some memories keep coming back to me like echoes, but I'm blocking them out with peace. I'm using warmth and healing to thaw out the parts of you that were frozen over the winter. You buried some feelings because you didn't know how to deal with them. I'm bringing them to the surface now, not to hurt you, but to heal you. You may no longer be able to handle things. You'll get better. You can't just move forward in a circle. You'll be whole again. Your perception of a minor injury turning into a permanent one is unrealistic. But I specialize in things that can't be fixed. Your idea of healing might mean going through the pain again. But I heal with kindness, not pain. You thought that time would eventually make the wounds go away, but I am healing them completely, not just covering them up with something else. This healing goes deeper than the skin. It won't be short-term. It is not biased. It goes far, deep and completely, on purpose, and it lasts forever. It gets to the parts of you that you thought no one else could see. You might feel parts of yourself coming back. Joy. Your idea has been gone for a long time. I hope your idea has died. Your confidence and idea have disappeared, and your tenderness and idea have become harder. In places where you used to feel worn out, you will start to feel lighter. You will feel emotionally free in places where chains used to be. You will see examples of both situations that caused pain and ones that brought about peace. I'm getting back your identity, your memories, your heart, your mind, your confidence, and your feelings. I am healing from the cracks that years of sadness, betrayal, fear, and grief have made in my heart. I'm getting better from the brokenness that made you see yourself that way. And when I'm done, you won't look like you were put together in pieces. You will look refreshed. You think you will always be able to get across the broken parts, but I'm making you whole, beautiful, undeniably, and completely. Concentrate your thoughts on me with a deep-seated desire. You believed that certain aspects of your lives had sustained permanent damage, yet I am restoring them. You believed those opportunities had elapsed. The relationships you thought were broken for beneficial reasons. You repressed your hopes because they would have caused you too much pain to hold on to them. Loss has been like a shadow on your life. Sometimes it's heavy, sometimes it's quiet, but it's always close. Over the years, there were times when you seemed to come back to me. I felt a sting, a silent grief, and a quiet acceptance that some things would never come back to me. You could clearly see that an excessive amount of time had elapsed, significant harm had occurred, and numerous doors had closed. You came to believe that some chapters were entirely ruined. But kid, you seem to have forgotten who I am. I'm the one who fixes things, saves people, and brings back what seems lost with a beauty you never thought possible. There are parts of your life that look like they are done, useless, or broken. There were times when you couldn't hold on to desire. There were desires that were like fragile pieces that you threw into a corner and walked away from because the pain of being unhappy was too much to bear. But now listen to me. I never really lose anything that is mine. Nothing I said would happen will ever really be gone for good. I've been working behind the scenes to gather the pieces, get back what was stolen, bring back what had died, and bring back to life what you gave up in sadness. I'm not going back to what I was before I got better. Change into something bigger, better, stronger, and more in line with who you have become. You may be able to fix relationships in ways that honor your heart's healing. You will see new opportunities in ways that help you grow up and become more aware. You might see your desires come back with sense and direction, instead of worry and confusion. Things that used to make you cry, with regret, become memories of how you got better. Places where you felt wronged become places where there is plenty. Things that used to break you become things that make you shine. I am not giving you your lower back in its original shape. It is being fixed up in a way that goes beyond what was taken. I'm giving you joy in a purer form. I'm sending it back because I need a bigger one. I'm giving you back your ID with more security. You're not going to get better now. You'll get up. You won't actually get it back. You'll be bursting. You will no longer really be healed. You may be given new strength from God. Think of me with what you thought was gone for good. Stories don't always end. I'm writing recovery where you used to write endings. Listen to me as I bring life back to places you haven't touched in years. I am bringing back the desires you buried, not because they were mistaken or because you were silly to want them, but because fear, failure, and disappointment made you think they were impossible. You used to carry your wants with ease. You used to be brave when you talked about what you thought was right. You used to dream of a future with meaning and impact. But then life really hit you. The facts weighed you down. Setbacks made you doubt yourself. Valley made you feel down. You shrunk because of criticism and evaluation. You put those goals aside and told yourself you'd get to them later. Despite your fear that the day would never arrive, you persevered. I haven't forgotten about the goals I set for you, though. There was a reason I put them there. They have never been a mess. They weren't just silly dreams of kids. They were glimpses of the real you and the life you were meant to live. Now, as the season changes, I'm touching those places that have been sleeping and waking up what has been asleep. It will start to happen to you. There is a stirring, a choice coming back, and a spark starting where there was only numbness. Thoughts will come back to you. It will be fun to be creative again. This time, fear won't be able to stop hope from rising. You'll begin to dream again, this time with more strength, courage, and freedom. You won't be as vulnerable with these dreams as you used to be. You'll win with the strength of pain, the wisdom of experience, and the confidence of perseverance. You're not the same person you were before you dreamed about these things. You're stronger, smarter, more deeply connected, and spiritually more stable. That's why you're ready to carry what used to crush you. I'm bringing back the desires you buried, but not in the way they were before. Instead, I'm bringing them back in a way that fits the mature, healed, and subtle version of you. You're not going to chase them around this time. You'll walk right into them. You can't hold on to them out of fear anymore. You can care for them clearly. The anger that your dreams won't keep their power over you. When you're struggling to breathe, things that were once a threat will now seem like the end of the world. These goals have always been there. They were all set. Now that I've woken them up, you might find that the goals you thought you had lost were actually the ones that will lead you to your best reason. Pay close attention, because this is the shift that the prophets said would happen. You are about to enter a part of your life where the pages will turn quickly. This phase is where long periods of stillness will be quickly replaced by fast motion, surprising alignment, and many breakthroughs. You walk through slow chapters for years. There were moments in the book where nothing changed. There were times when progress seemed impossible to see. There were parts of the story where you wondered if it had stopped. You believed it, prayed for it, and waited for it, but life felt painfully slow. It looked like you took longer to do everything. Your actions looked like you were always starting over. It looked like you were always waiting for someone or something to happen that never did. Things are moving faster now, though. You are transitioning from one tempo to another. The momentum is building. In every divine story, there is a point where it moves faster. Not by human effort or a twist of fate, but by heaven's plan. Things that used to take years are now happening in months. Things that took months start to happen in weeks. What seemed impossible at first starts to change and unfold naturally. You might experience unexpected speeds, surpassing the delays that once troubled you. The doors will open quickly. Things will get better quickly. Chances will show up out of nowhere. Hearts will quickly change. What used to be difficult to understand becomes simple, but with good blood it becomes clear. There's a reason for this quickening. I've been building a lot inside of you, and this rapid growth is by far the result. You now have tools that you didn't have before. You are now aligned in ways you weren't before. You're in a spiritual place now that you wouldn't be able to reach without the slow seasons. In other words, growth leads to deep roots. Deep roots keep growth going quickly. You stuck with the slow so that you could get across the fast. Don't worry about how fast this next bankruptcy will go. Do it now. It won't be a burden anymore. It's good for you. You'll feel grace guiding every move, readability with every choice, and peace over every conversation. You shouldn't hurry. You'll float. You will no longer be scared. You will push yourself upward. This season's pace isn't always meant to put you under pressure. It's just to show you how my timing works. As long as everything is in order, you are about to enter a chapter where the pages will turn quickly, the story will get stronger, and your destiny will unfold in front of your eyes with divine speed. Pay attention to me with a growing sense of expectation in your heart. Chance or good luck didn't speed up your life. It's happening because you stuck it out during the slow season with a level of loyalty that heaven admired. You waited for long periods of time, which made you stronger, and everyone around you knew it. You had days when you saw no progress and nights when you wondered if anything was moving. You went through times when you prayed for answers, but didn't receive any, obeyed but couldn't understand why, and believed without proof. When you felt like sitting down, you stopped walking. You kept trusting, even when your sadness told you not to. You should also not underestimate the power of that staying power, because it has created a spiritual momentum that is now breaking out into acceleration. You made it through the slow season without losing your spirit. Through the quiet season, you didn't give up on your faith. You kept practicing during the stretching season without losing your ID. You encountered circumstances that might have led to bitterness, yet they ultimately fortified you. You continuously engaged in actions intended to strengthen you, yet they ultimately rendered you more vulnerable. You persisted through challenges that might have caused you to surrender, yet you remain resilient. What you thought was easy turned out to be school. You are now strong enough in spirit to deal with education for a temper. People who skip the method no longer get acceleration. It's for people who stuck with it through the whole thing. They were individuals who remained steadfast in their commitment, even when the journey appeared to be stagnant. People who held on to their hopes, even when they didn't seem likely. People who let me shape them, make them better, slowly break them down, and turn them around. Now that the season of slowness is over, it is due to your decision not to rush before I arrived, your willingness to let me paint deeply inside you, and your trust in me, even when you were unsure of my actions. The ground is ready for your lives. Your spirit is all set. Your plan for direction is ready. You'll quickly feel the change. Things are moving faster in your life. Opportunities are coming up with less work. There is less misunderstanding and more clarity. Breakthroughs are happening with less trouble. Items will begin to drift if they become stuck. Things that used to need a lot of moving will now move easily. It's not the street that has bound you, but rather your own actions. Speeding up is your reward for being patient. That the slow season is no longer a punishment will be shown in the next part. It taught you how to accelerate the arrival of the blessings that are now coming your way. Feel at ease as you listen to me. You won't have to push, force, beg, or try to get through the next doors in your life. They'll open because I'm opening them. No one or anything can close a door after I open it. You've spent years relying on your own strength to make things happen. You drove on doors that wouldn't move. You tried to open up options by working diligently. You took on too much because you were hoping something would change. You were worn out from working so hard to make things happen that weren't meant to be made by people working together. However, that phase has come to an end. There will be no talk about pressure in the next part. There will be less pushing and more accepting. It will be about drift. Now it's not about trying but about being in sync. When I open a door, it means you can't try to sell yourself, trick someone, or hustle to be seen. It's no longer hard for me to open up. Now my openings come with peace, not stress, clarity, not chaos, and grace, not stress. I no longer have to worry about the doors I open. They are no longer strong. They don't need you to show that you deserve them. They are open because heaven said it would be a while. They open because you're ready to walk through them. They let you in because your goal, growth, character, and future align with what's behind them. Through Enjoy, you've learned that pushed doors never lead to happiness. Forced options crumble under duress. Being in forced relationships is bad for you. Seasonal stress takes away your peace. The doors I open, on the other hand, will feel unique. They are going to swing far and easily. They will send confirmation instead of doubt. It will give me the feeling that this fits me, and that I don't have to fight to keep things together. You might not have to give up anything to get in. You might not have to cut back to fit in. You might not have to lie to be at ease. There may be signs, divine nudges, tastes, invitations, and chances that just seem to fit together perfectly. You may be able to see that they didn't come from your hard work, but from what I planned. As soon as the idea is out of reach, you'll walk into rooms. You will get into places that felt locked before. You'll be able to reap benefits that previously seemed unattainable. You'll feel a gentle calm in your spirit as you do that, because you didn't use pressure to open the door. It was opened with my help. No longer do you need to push. The days of open doors are coming to an end. Listen to the message with a humble heart. In the next season, I'll find ways for people to want you. I will touch their hearts toward you, not because you convinced them, finished it for them, or proved yourself. You have been carrying the weight of wanting to be understood, liked, admired, or validated by people who were never meant to really look at you for too long. You attempted to win over those who were determined to misunderstand you. You endeavored to demonstrate your true worth to others, but they were unable to perceive it. You spent a lot of time and energy trying to fit into things that were no longer your calling. Toys, that time of year is over. I'm bringing you new people, new links, new alignments, and people who will understand your heart without you having to say a word. There are people who will know your price, even if you don't say it. People whose souls may be drawn to you because I've set them up to walk with you. This choice is not an example of trickery. God is orchestrating it perfectly. It is you who alleviates their discomfort, restores their sight, and fills their hearts with your presence. You should no longer fight to fit in. You won't feel the weight of trying to show that you're enough. You might not feel the pain of rejection while figuring out how valuable you are. Instead, your relationships will be incredibly straightforward. Effects will waft from conversations. Connections will take on an honest form. Aid will suddenly stand up. There will be more influence. People will open doors for you, even if they don't know why. People will say nice things about you in places you've never been. People will recommend you even if you don't ask them to. There is no chance in this choice. It is a strategy. It will open up doors for you, make you stronger, and give you connections based on honor, trust, and growth for both parties. There may be people around you who enjoy being with you but don't put up with you. People who understand your heart, your calling, and your sensitivity don't bring you down, they lift you up. You shouldn't try to convince everyone of who you are. Over the coming seasons, I'll introduce you to the right people. I can hide you from the wrong people. The kindness that comes can be truly divine, since it won't be something you earned, but something I gave you. As you listen to this, you'll feel more confident in yourself. You won't have to chase force or desperately search for the opportunities that are coming your way next season, because I'm putting them right in your direction. They'll locate you. You felt like you had to rush through every open door for see you later. It felt as though your future depended on your work ethic, your visibility, the number of people who knew you, and the effort you put in. You're too worn out to keep trying to be everywhere. Do everything. Show that you deserve to live and then die. You were afraid of being left out. Wanted to have your second. You were afraid that ways of living would slip away from you if you didn't push yourself hard enough. But now, little one, pay attention to me. What is meant to happen to you cannot be avoided. And when this next bankruptcy comes up, you won't be the only one chasing them. The chances will come after you. Currently, there are doors behind the scenes that start with your name on them. Talk is being said about your appearance in rooms you haven't been to. By changing your path, you can get benefits that you didn't see, ask for, or plan to get. Why? Because I've made sure that these chances fit with your calling, your character, your training, and your reason. These opportunities do not arise by accident. Everything you've been through, everything you've learned, everything you've given up, and everything you've grown through has left you. You should know that nothing in nature can stop me from raising you. I no longer need permission from a person to promote you. I don't want a majority vote to bless you. I don't want perfect conditions to hit you right now. I move around based on cause, not on fame. In sync with fate, there are no more time limits. According to the plan, there are no longer any human deadlines. Because chance is part of my plan for you, it will find you exactly where you are. You don't have to try hard to be in the right place at the right time. You won't have to look for links to meet the right people. You won't have to think hard about what to pay attention to. You don't have to push the right doors to get through them. This approach is not being passive. It is in line. You're done with your part. Your character, your energy, your attitude, and your heart are all in order. Let me do what I need to do. You'll know these options are mine because they will bring me peace, purpose, and clarity instead of stress, confusion, or pressure. They will make you stronger, not weaker. They won't hurt you anymore. They'll stretch you. They will bless you and lighten your burden. The opportunities you believe you need to seize right now are coming to you. So your job is to stay open, connected, and ready. Seriously. Pay attention to what I say. It's not by chance, coincidence, or the norm that a gift is coming your way. It's based on your journey, purpose, identity, and future. This is something you need to realize, because for too long you thought you were getting leftover miracles or unintentional gifts. You've compared your big step forward to others and thought that theirs was more planned, more important, and more divinely arranged. But, baby, when I make a blessing for you, I no longer use something else. I no longer use someone else's for something else. This is something I'm making with your story and your boom in mind. Your healing is in your mind, and your blessing is in your mind. You are the only one who can receive this gift. Added, timed, and shaped for the exact model of your state right now. There had been times when you felt like no one was paying attention to you, that good things were happening for everyone else but you. That's because what I had for you needed more training, more pruning, more refining, and more harmony. You were not being turned down. You were getting ready for a task, level gift, something important that can't be rushed, too heavy to be treated wrong, or too holy to be given too soon. This is something you should know. The blessing that is coming into your life is part of a divine plan. It links to various parts of your calling. It helps you heal from hurts you've been through. It gives you chances to improve your skills and abilities. It includes happiness to get rid of old sadness. It has parts that will make areas that have been unstable more stable. Furthermore, it encompasses the restoration of areas you perceive as completely destroyed. This blessing doesn't just happen by itself. It's a planned start. Promises kept are what they mean. Remembering prayers is like reaping the harvest from seeds that were planted a long time ago. Plus, nothing can steal it since it's miles assigned to you. It can't be blocked by anyone. No one can steal it, and there is no way to cancel it. The question can't change it. The blessing is made up of your name, the right time, and the right place. It will come at the right time. For this one, you don't need to fight right now. You shouldn't be afraid to drop it. You no longer have to do anything for it. What kind of sign can't be read? You might quickly realize that this isn't always a good thing that happened to you. It is a blessing that came from God and was meant for you. When it comes, you'll be able to feel it in your spirit. It was made just for me. Let this real relaxation sink in like a light but solid weight. There is someone else who now has the miracle you've been praying for, hoping for, longing for, and fighting for. Your name and Greg's name are written on it in the language of heaven. Before you even asked for it, it was already written for you. It was set up for you before you even knew it would be. Before you became the person who could receive it, it changed to be the right fit for you. You've prayed for things that didn't seem possible. You have been waiting for answers that didn't seem close enough. You have stuck with it through storms that made you wonder if miracles were really meant for you. But, little kid, Listen to me. The miracle you had is not a generally good thing. It is a private meeting, a divine package deal that has been kept safe, and it was planned with a purpose. At times, you felt like you weren't qualified because of mistakes you made in the past. There were times when you were too broken, too worn out, or too late to wish again. It was your job to tell yourself that other people deserved it more. You cut back on your hopes to avoid being sad. However, none of those actions resulted in the removal of the sign. Not one of those things changed the challenge. That didn't change the promise in any way. No longer did your miracle depend on how perfect you were. It was based on my promise. It wasn't based on how you should behave anymore. I believed in my constant love. And even though the road has been long, the delays have been painful, and the waiting has been harder than you thought it would be, the miracle has never stopped moving toward you. It has been through seasons of getting ready, seasons of time alignment, and seasons of divine timing. Now the engraving shines like a seal because the launch moment is getting closer. You have to see it because this miracle has your name on it. It can't be given to anyone else. No one else can intercept it, steal it, or take over what was made for you. It will no longer be changed. It's no longer going to be moved around. No one will forget about it. Heaven held on to it until you were organized, healed, strengthened, and in the right place to stay in its fullness. Also, when it comes, not if, but when, you might feel it, you'll get it. It will fit you like nothing else has ever fit you, so your spirit will know it right away. You'll say, "This is mine now. It's always had meaning for me." Listen to me with a firm belief in truth. Nothing and no one can take what I've set aside just for you. Not a person, not a situation, not a put off, not an enemy, and not even your own past. There's been a lot of fear in your life. You were afraid of missing out. It scared you not to be noticed. It scared you that someone else would turn into what you prayed for. You feared that your mistakes would prevent you from achieving the blessings intended for you. You were afraid that point would ruin what people thought was yours. You were afraid that your broken seasons would nullify your promises. I changed the way you live. But I can tell you right now with all the authority of the one who planned your path, what I have planned for you is safe in heaven, covered by my time, and kept safe by my plan. It can't be said by a person. There is no way to erase it. It can't be stopped by anyone else. For far too long, you thought that gifts were fragile, and that you had to chase them, hold on tight, or fearfully protect them. But what I own can't be taken, and what I give out can't be changed. The enemy may also try to slow you down, discourage you, confuse you, or lead you astray. But he can't take what has my seal on it. He can't touch the marked part of your call. He doesn't belong where you were born to be. He can't stop you from fulfilling the purpose I've found in you. He can't change what I've written about your future. The foundation of every promise I made to you is unchangeable. I made every gift for you before anyone on earth could alter it. Every chance that was meant for you is safe from evil attack. Even your doubts can't change my plan. Even your pains can't change what I meant to do. Your dear ones can't change my holiday spot for you. Yes, you have tripped. Yes, you have had doubts. Yes, you have sometimes taken the long way. All of that hasn't changed my plan, though. I keep what I save safe. I do what I say I will do. I do what I say I will do. You want to know how important this fact is? There is no danger in your future. Your reason is not weak. There is no risk to your benefits. What I've kept for you is protected in ways that your mind can't comprehend. And soon you'll be able to see for yourself that no one has taken what was meant to be in your lives. It had been set aside and was waiting for you, not changed and worn. You are now getting close to the moment when what has been kept will finally be found out. Pay close attention, because this topic has to do with the private parts of your journey. All the things you dared to believe were lies are about to be proven openly, strongly, and without a doubt. Your faith was hidden from everyone else, but your tears kept you going. You had faith, even though your experiences made you doubt it. You believed even though your emotions were shaking. Some people didn't believe you, but you did. You believed even though you didn't know how to keep believing. You prayed in a whisper that no one else could hear. You had visions that no one else saw. You held on to promises that no one else could understand. And for a long time, it seemed like your belief lived in the dark, nowhere to be seen, never to be accepted, and never to be rewarded. But the church I respect the most is the one that grows in the dark. Now I'm going to jump into your story to give public support to an idea that wasn't public before. There were times when you wondered if you were hearing my voice in your head. There were times when you wondered if the promises you held on to were really true. There were moments when you doubted your sanity for trusting in possibilities that appeared unlikely, yet you persisted regardless. This is the faith that makes heaven joyful. It's that religion that makes things happen. This is the faith that makes wonders happen. Your quiet faith has come at the right time. I am now going to make visible what was hidden as soon as possible. In places that were quiet before, you'll see alignment. There will be proof of where there was an opening. There will be a step forward where there was none before. Where there was once sadness, you will now see hope. No longer have you been ignored in your faith. It has been building momentum, gaining weight, and gaining spiritual power. And the moment of affirmation is getting close, like when dawn breaks after a long night. Those who previously held doubts about you may witness this moment. People who didn't think much of you will see it. People who questioned your religion will have to face the truth about what I've done for your lives. But this affirmation isn't for them. It's miles for you. It's my way of making sure that you heard me right, that you trusted me, and that your wish wasn't unreasonable. I'm confirming your faith. I am confirming that you will obey. I am ensuring that your acceptance is correct. After getting the proof, you may see that everything you believed in the dark wasn't for nothing. It turns into honestly waiting for my perfect time to be found out. Listen to this with awe, because I'm about to tell you something you didn't expect. What you are about to enter is far bigger than anything you hoped, prayed, dreamed, or dared to wish for. You prayed based on what you could see. You hoped for things that you thought were possible. Your level of belief was based on how much you knew. But I'm no longer limited by the size of your wishes. It doesn't matter how clever you are. It doesn't matter how big your prayers are. I'm getting something ready for you that goes beyond what you thought was possible. It was you who asked for healing, but I'm bringing restoration. You prayed for enough, but I'm freeing up extra. You asked for a way, but I'm showing you your fate. You asked for energy, but I'm giving you power. You prayed to stay alive, but I'm setting you up for plenty. While you hoped for a door, I'm making a way. This time you only asked for what you needed, because pain taught you to lower your hopes. But I am the God who provides more than enough, and I'm about to show you. You've prayed less at times, because you were unhappy and wanted to be careful. There were times when you didn't have as much hope, because you didn't want to go through another loss. There have been times when you really needed to pray for the power to stay on all day. Or I heard you even then. I revered every word. However, I also created something that goes far beyond what your wary heart may wish to consider. You'll be surprised at why you're walking. It will make you humble. No longer out of fear, it will crush you with surprise. You'll say, I did not know it could be this accurate. I didn't realize it could look like this. I failed to recognize the answer, which might appear to be this. You may know that while you were asking for what you wanted, I was planning what could change you. You're not just about to receive a small gift. You're going into a divine growth. Your prayers have been like seeds, but now I'm going to bring a crop. When you asked for things, they were like home windows, but now I'm opening gates. Your dreams were like sparks, but I'm letting go of the hearth. What you're walking into is bigger than your thoughts. My love for you surpasses your current understanding, and my plans for you are bigger than anything your past should have taught you. Are you ready to get more than what you thought you wanted? Then listen to me. You asked me to take a step forward. The thing I'm bringing into your lives, though, is change. This change is complete, simple, and permanent, affecting not just one aspect of your life, but everything connected to you. You wished for one door to open, but I'm getting ready for more than one. You asked me to take away one load, but I'm taking away weights you forgot you were carrying. You hoped for one deal to go through, but I'm changing your whole environment. There is a time for significant restoration and progress. Change changes the course of your future. You've been hoping for a clear answer, a focused surprise, and a single turning point. You can change your identity, your vision, your relationships, your attitude, your self-belief, your cause, and your route. But I've been getting ready for something deeper, richer, and more profound. You prayed small when you were tired, hurt, or too weak to hope for more than relief. That made sense to me. I could tell that your prayers were sincere. I could tell you were desperate for tears. I used to be working on a big change, though. While you whispered small wishes, your spirit is not ready to see it yet. But your future was always meant to be bright. Wake fixes the cracks. Changes rebuild the base. I am rebuilding you from the inside out. You could start by writing down how you observed it. The heavy feeling that was in the background will go away. You might notice it in the way you talk afterward. Wish it were easy to navigate back to your voice results. Then you might be able to tell by the way you move. With more confidence, you can take steps without fear of being held back. After that, you'll see it for yourself in your surroundings. Chances are coming together. Moving for courtship. There are advantages to meeting you without putting in too much effort. This change won't happen quickly. It lasts for miles and miles. This change does not occur as a surface stage. It goes back miles and miles. It is not biased. It's whole. I no longer just break chains. I'm redoing whole chapters. I'm not just fixing what made you feel awful. I'm putting back what was taken. It's no longer just rewards that I'm giving you. I'm changing you so that you can use your knowledge and electricity to make the most of these benefits. You asked me for a solution because you thought that a second could change everything. I am giving you change, though, because I want you to become everything I made you to be. Bring tears to my eyes as the weight of redemption settles on your spirit. I am preparing a gift for you that may not truly bring comfort to your heart. It's going to make up for years of sadness, loss, and being unhappy. You have stuck with it through times when you felt cheated. There were periods when you could not comprehend why circumstances continued to unravel beneath your grasp. You were curious about why your hard work didn't pay off. You had challenging times when life seemed unfair, when opportunities passed you by, when relationships ended, and when goals were missed. When you were alone, you inquired of me, Lord, will anything ever compensate for all that I have endured? I told you that I was sure it would. Without a doubt, yes. I am the God who turns back time. This is the God who changes the seasons and restores what is taken away with a boom. The story didn't end with what you lost. For a gift that encompasses weight, depth, and reward, it has become a significant setting in your life. This gift isn't always an effortless thing to have in your life. God is repaying you in a magical way for everything you did with persistence, loyalty, and staying power. I will return to you in the future, not just in what you get, but also in who you become. The gift that's coming will heal all the wounds from your past. It will make what hurt you seem less important. It will shine brighter than what broke you. It will eliminate the feelings that bring you down. You'll swiftly reflect on your lives and declare, "It has compensated for the years I lost. The tears I shed have been answered. The prayers I prayed have been heard. The pain I endured has been made up for." I know you're struggling. I don't forget the sacrifices you've made. I do not forget about the seasons wherein you felt alone, unseen, and empty, exceeded. I am positioning you presently, aligning human beings, timing assets, connections, and opportunities so that what comes subsequently will be most effective. Bless you, however, and repair you. What's beforehand will no longer be in the shape of what you lost. It's going to exceed it. You may no longer simply get better. You may overflow. You'll no longer in reality rise, you will bounce. The blessing coming to you incorporates redemption in every part of it. Pay attention with a spirit prepared to launch vintage frustration. You may soon look again at the lengthy seasons of waiting, the delays, the closed doors, the unanswered prayers, and the seeming standstills, and understand with clarity and gratitude why those seasons had been honestly necessary. Ready felt like punishment. Ready felt like silence. Ready felt like stagnation. You wrestled with impatience. You puzzled your real worth. You puzzled over whether you misheard my voice. You didn't believe anything could ever change. But in the hidden parts of time, I was preparing things that couldn't be rushed, building energy in you that couldn't be pushed, and aligning benefits that would have fallen apart if given too soon. Every period of anticipation marked a period of transformation. You weren't stuck, you were being formed. You were unpaused, yet prepared. You were not only forgotten, but also transformed. You learned endurance, discernment, resilience, how to recognize my voice, and how to walk in faith even when evidence wasn't there. You learned to depend on me instead of situations, and you learned to contemplate timing instead of dreadful delays. As a result, you are not the same person who first prayed for these miracles. You're deeper. You're stronger. You are grounded. While the fullness of your blessing arrives, you'll finally see why speeding might have ruined you. You'll see why earlier doorways might have distracted you. You will see why premature possibilities could have crushed you. You may understand why I said, "Not yet," when you asked me to discuss it immediately. Being ready isn't always a waste, especially since I am the only one who created it. Waiting is my way of being protective of what you are praying for. Waiting makes me defensive of you. Soon, as everything aligns and the leap forward unfolds, you will look back and understand that the waiting was not a setback. It turned into a divine approach. You will say with conviction, "It needed to happen this way. I wanted that point. I wanted that increase. I needed that refinement. And now I see why. You'll remember that each moment of waiting was an opportunity for you to operate in your true self, preparing you for the significant element that is now approaching your life with purpose and promise. Take a deep breath and listen to me carefully. There are doors I kept closed on your life, not to punish you, annoy you, or put you off, but to keep you safe from paths that would have hurt your spirit, drained your strength, and derailed your future. And soon you will understand exactly why those doors had to stay shut. You spent years thinking about my choices. You asked why chances were missed, why beneficial relationships didn't work out, and why goals didn't come true the way you planned. You felt rejected when those doors closed, and you thought something was wrong with you. But hear me out, nothing was wrong with you. I opened the wrong door for you. If I had opened the wrong doors, they might have taken you farther away from who you are, not closer to who you're becoming. You only paid attention to the front of those doors, their hopeful look, their attractive surface, and their short comfort. But I saw them from behind. I saw the spiritual traps that were there. I noticed the emotional effects you didn't mean to have. I was aware that sorrow was imminent. I saw the mistake that would have left you without anything. Some doors may have fed your fears and sowed the seeds of your doubt. Some may have given you short-term pleasure but long-term sorrow. One or two of them might have looked like gifts, but they were actually burdens. That's why I shut them. I shut them tight. I quickly shut them. They were closed without any further explanation, because I knew that if I did, you would not have understood. It was too close to the choice, too close to the idea, and you didn't know enough about the risk. But now you're growing up. We see you growing. You have clean eyes. When the right doors open, you'll thank me for every no, not, and this isn't your door. The closed doors were not failures. They were there to protect. It has not been a loss. They had been lines of defense. They haven't been turned down yet. They were changes of direction. And what's coming will make sense of everything. Seize this truth wholeheartedly. Everything I stopped, held back, redirected, and avoided, even the things you begged me to do, was done to protect your future, not punish your present. This is something I really need you to see, because for too long you took my safety as rejection. You told yourself that you weren't worth it, even though you didn't mean to. You thought that my quiet meant that I wasn't seeing you. Your idea of my redirection was based on the thought that you had failed. But, kid, my safety has always given the sense of being safe. My safety has always provided a sense of security, preventing unexpected pain from occurring, stopping trauma that looks like a chance. It involves severing connections with individuals who may have contributed to your fatigue, keeping you away from places that could have suffocated your growth is crucial. There were times when you really wanted things to work out, but they weren't in line with who you've been becoming. There have been people you tried to stay close to, but they weren't able to handle the next bankruptcy. You were planning to walk along some roads, but they didn't lead to the places I planned for you. There were dreams that made me feel good mentally, but they were mistaken spiritually. I love you too much to let short-term desire ruin a long-term future. My protection sometimes comes in the form of dead sadness. From time to time, my love comes wrapped in a put-off. Occasionally my direction comes from prayers that aren't answered. Sometimes, my care is expressed through private conversations. There was no reason to not be ready. It meant that the situation wasn't good enough for you. You needed something deeper, stronger, and better for you. extra in line with a calling on your life, and each obstacle turned into a holy guard for your future self. Soon, when you step into what I've planned for you, benefits that fit your healed heart, relationships that honor your true worth, and chances that fit your growth, you may look back and say, "Now I understand. Now I see. Now I know I was being covered, not punished. My love has always been in the information you didn't understand. And the future I'm leading you into will show it. Lean into me now, because I'm setting you free from one of the worst truths of your journey. The pain that made you tired. The broken hearts. Losses, betrayals, and failures will quickly become the clarity that leads you to your next degree. I know there were times when you asked me, why did this happen? Why should I like this? What did the harm serve as a reason for? You caused pain that didn't seem to be worth it. You stuck with things that seemed unfair. You remembered things that made you feel more confused than calm. But hear me out. None of your pain is wasted or meaningless. What felt like destruction turned into edginess. What felt like a break turned into a building. What felt like the end turned into a beginning of understanding, resilience, discernment, and intensity. H has a way of sprucing up your imagination and foresight. It shows you what you couldn't see before. It hides things. It teaches you things that comfort can't. It showed you who your real friends were. It showed you the power you didn't know you had. It woke up parts of your spirit that were asleep. It hurt, but it turned you into someone who can confidently walk into the future without being led astray by the things that used to trick you. Soon, the things that broke you will become the ones that guide you. Red flags that you previously ignored, voices that attempted to deceive you, and opportunities that once burdened you will become visible to you. You can choose with confidence where you are as long as you choose from insecurity. Your pain has turned into wisdom, your disappointments into discernment, your heartbreaks into electricity, and your confusion into readability. You're entering the next season as a new person who can see clearly and love deeply. Choose wisely and walk with confidence. When the benefits come, you'll know how to handle them, because your pain taught you that your comfort never should have. The clarity is coming, and it will make up for every second that hurt you. 56. The injuries you tried to hide are the very places where I'm pouring my healing strength into you. Pay close attention, because this truth goes deep into your soul. The injuries you tried to cover up with silence, energy, distraction, or denial are the very places where my healing strength is pouring in most deeply. For goodbye. You thought you had to hide your pain in order to seem strong. You believed you had to smile through it because you didn't want to burden anyone. You believed you had to keep some memories buried because revisiting them was too painful to bear. But, toddler, the injuries you hide don't scare me now. The hurts you hide don't threaten me. The hurts you carry don't disappoint me. In truth, they draw me nearer, because I perform my finest work in the environments you are most hesitant to reveal to them. There are hurts from others that you have never fully dealt with. Words spoken over you that tore at your identity. Betrayals that broke what you thought was true. Losses that left you numb. Regrets that you still carry quietly. All of these wounds shaped how you saw yourself and how you went through life. They shaped your fears, your defenses, your insecurities, or even your expectations of me. But listen to me. I'm not ignoring the silent pain. I'm coming into the depths of your brokenness with kindness, truth, healing, and restoration. My healing doesn't shame you for hurting. My restoration doesn't force you to lie. As I heal you, I'm not just fixing the obvious wounds. I'm also fixing the ones you stopped talking about and binding the ones you thought would always be weak. Recovery isn't just for the obvious pain. It's also for the hidden, buried, and unspoken pain. And as I heal you, I'm not just the final wound. I'm rewriting the meaning they held over your life. You can come out of this season with the strength that comes from healed places, not hardened ones. You'll no longer make decisions based on fear, shame, or lack of confidence. You won't have to navigate life based on trauma. Recovery will change how you see yourself, how you love others, what you believe, what you want, and how you live. Therefore, don't fear what I'm revealing. I'm not exposing your wounds to hurt you. I'm exposing them to heal you completely. Listen to your testimony with the respect of someone about to witness a divine reversal. Every tear you shed was collected, remembered, and used to water the soil of the next season you are entering. You thought your tears were signs of weakness. You thought they showed how worn out you were. You thought they meant you were failing. But in my eyes, they were seeds. Seeds of faith. They fell into the ground of your journey. They started to nourish the roots of what is going to bloom in your life. You cried in loneliness. You cried in confusion. You cried in heartbreak. You cried in surrender. You cried in silence. You cried with prayers that didn't have words. And once in a while you cried, not due to the fact you lacked religion, however, because you felt deeply, loved deeply, hoped deeply, and lived more than most of the people ever realized. Not one of those tears fell ignored. Not one tear becomes forgotten. Even keeps a file of what earth ignores. Your tears softened the soil in your heart, so restoration may want to take root. Your tears watered the seeds of destiny, benefits you clearly saw. Your tears broke the heart and ground of vintage wounds, so new growth should emerge. Your tears had been prayers in liquid shape, carrying intensity your words could not express. And as a result, your tears deliver weight in the spiritual realm. Your tears have created the leap forward that is now taking shape around you. You are entering a season in which pleasure will float from the same places that once poured out sorrow. In this season, clarity will rise from the same places that once gave birth to confusion. The same ground that once felt barren will now sprout abundance. It's possible to look back and realize that the times you felt the most broken were the times I built something new inside you. Honor your tears. Baby, they watered the roots of your miracle. Let this truth sink deep into your being. When you thought nothing was happening, when life seemed to be stuck, when your prayers seemed unanswered, and when things seemed to stay the same, I was rewriting your story behind the scenes, shaping results you couldn't see, setting up breakthroughs you couldn't feel, and making sure that events you didn't know were moving in the direction you wanted. You thought you had status nonetheless. You thought you were stuck. You believed you were forgotten. But not a second of your waiting became empty. I was writing chapters you didn't know about, moving pieces you couldn't see, setting up connections you hadn't met yet, and creating blessings that needed silence to grow. You have no idea how many things I kept you from experiencing while you thought nothing was going on. You have no idea how many closed doors kept you from heartbreak, how many delayed answers kept you from disaster, and how many paths kept you from going into places that weren't meant to be in your destiny. My hand was busy even when my voice felt quiet, and my paintings became constants even when your feelings were numb. There is a reason hopeful prayer didn't spread as you thought it would. There's a reason why some prospects and relationships changed and seasons got longer. I was writing a story that needed more intensity, more recovery, more knowledge, better timing, and better alignment than what you could see at the time. I was weaving together things that needed time to connect. I was aligning reason with location. I was strengthening you in preparation for the changes I was making around you. And soon you'll step into a sequence of unfolding events, an acceleration, a momentum, a divine glide that will make you understand just what was going on behind the curtain while you thought I was quiet. You'll see the plot lines come together and recognize the divine fingerprints on every moment. You'll say, "This didn't just appear out of nowhere. Your story has never been still. It's been being written. And now the part I've been working on is ready to be read." 59. It's about to take a turn you didn't see coming. Listen to me with rising hopes for your spirit. It's about to take a turn so sudden, so fantastically, so powerfully that you may come back and realize the path you thought was going nowhere actually led you straight to a step forward. You've been wading through what felt like a long, unchanging hallway. There were days when nothing changed, months when everything felt stale, and seasons when it seemed like nothing could happen. You wondered if you had misunderstood my course. You questioned the validity of the promises you had been clinging to. When you were sad, you couldn't see the bend in the road, the divine pivot, the hidden shift, and the turning point function. You thought the silence meant the end, but my silence became an approach. My stillness became alignment, and my hiddenness became instruction. You weren't walking toward a void. You were walking toward a divinely planned nook that could reveal a whole new landscape of opportunity, blessing, and direction. Corners in your story appear without warning. They often come quietly and without warning, after times of discouragement. They're the times when sadness turns into cause, confusion turns into readability, and sorrow turns into joy. This corner isn't always by chance. It's largely the result of the entire time I've been aligning behind the scenes. You are about to come across divine connections, open doors, fresh paths, and supernatural momentum. What once felt like it will accelerate, what once seemed put off will spread widely. What once felt remote will draw near, and what once seemed impossible will suddenly appear within reach. You won't turn this nook in fear. You will flip it in triumph, and when you turn, you will see why the direct direction felt like see you later. You'll recognize that each step you took in religion, every second you persevered, each tear you shed, and each prayer you whispered contributed to the energy wished for what lies ahead. You're approaching a shift, and it's going to unfold in one of these ways. You will elevate your fingers in awe and say, "I did not see this moment coming, however, God organized it flawlessly." Your tale is not staying right here. You are embarking on a new journey. You're moving into newness. You are walking into a future written with your call on it. Pay attention to me as if you possess the know-how of someone who is about to witness divine orchestration. The quiet you sense right now. You sense a stillness in your spirit, the pause in your situation, and the silence of unanswered prayers do not signify emptiness. Rather, they represent a form of guidance. I am setting the stage for something big, something that needs calm before the reveal. You thought that the stillness meant that nothing was happening, and you were afraid that the silence meant abandonment. But, child, a stage is always quiet even though it's not set. The lights dim, the noise fades, and the audience waits. Behind the curtain, everything is being prepared for a moment of impact. I am aligning people, shaping circumstances, making plans, and repositioning you internally, so that when it all happens, it will happen without any problems or confusion. The silence is not punishment. It's far more precise. If you saw everything too soon, you would discover it wrong. If I rush this moment, the blessing might not have had time to fully bloom. Do not misunderstand this silence. It is holy. It is purposeful. It is the last breath before the next one. You prayed for clarity, and it is now appearing in your life. You prayed for movement, and it is building up right outside your view. You prayed for a breakthrough, and it is unfolding in the background. Heaven often feels like silence before it feels abrupt. Soon, very soon, the silence will hurt. The day will brighten, revealing everything I have planned. You will understand why you needed to be still at this time. You will see that what you thought was a delay turned out to be a divine plan. And you will say, Lord, you were working the whole time. With tears in your eyes and thanks in your voice. Stay calm when it's quiet. The degree is almost ready. Listen closely. What I'm about to say will be one of the most important changes in your life. You're about to connect with the divine. A season when everything starts to make sense. In this season, the scattered parts of your life come together. This is a place where confusion disappears, and my purpose for your life becomes clearer than it has ever been before. You've experienced moments of chaos and disarray. There were moments when your thoughts contradicted your feelings, when your situations didn't align with your prayers, and when your spirit struggled to find clarity. The way you felt was that some parts of your life were moving forward, and others were stuck. You didn't feel connected to each other, and didn't know how to do something beneficial together. But harmony is on the way, and once it does, everything will start to work together. With the divine alignment method, relationships, opportunities, the path, and spiritual understanding all start to move in sync with each other. It means you no longer feel pulled between who you were and who you are becoming. It means that the confusion that made it challenging for you to make choices is beginning to clear up. It means that the questions that have been bothering you for years start to have answers. The delays that caused you frustration have revealed their hidden purpose. It's crucial that the seemingly disparate narratives of your lives suddenly coalesce into a cohesive whole. You can't always force things to be aligned. It's not something I bring. Right then and there, what's inside you and what's around you come together. Time stops for no reason when your presence, health, knowledge, training, and chances all come together at the same time. That's why those who were ready wanted to say, "See you later." This is why the cutting hurts so much. That's why the directions seem to be set over and over again. I shaped each of you to align with the future I envisioned. Soon, you'll experience a sense of drifting, and you'll find it easier to make decisions, navigate your path, cultivate stronger relationships, and experience peace. You will no longer have to deal with misunderstanding. You will no longer experience a sense of disarray. You might no longer feel psychic tearing. When you're in harmony, you have clarity that covers every part of your life. As the divine alignment settles over you, you'll understand that nothing happened by chance, nothing was wasted, and nothing turned into something random. Everything is most important right now, when your cause, your guidance, and my promise all come together in perfect team spirit. Listen to me with the wonder of someone entering an environment full of desire. In the next part of your life, doors will open before you knock. It's like your presence alone sets off movement, harmony, and possibility. You've been through times when it felt like every step was heavy. Through doors that no longer worked, you drove. You hit that person so strongly that your knuckles hurt. You prayed so hard that your voice was shaking. You didn't make your wish until it felt weak. You didn't understand why everything seemed to take so long, why every step seemed like an uphill battle, and why every victory felt like a battle. But baby, I'm changing the mood around you. Now is the time when the paintings you used to have to fight for will start to come to you, before you even try to grab them. This doesn't always happen by chance. That is the work of the gods. This is evidence that heaven has already departed before you. Understand this. It's not clear that open doors are options. Open entrances demonstrate alignment. There is proof that your practice, your recovery, your obedience, your determination, and my timing have all come together. At this point, the doors that open will no longer need to be manipulated. They won't have to be desperate anymore. There's no need to cut yourself down, bend yourself, or give up your personality in the process. These doors will know who you are. They will take action based on the power I have given you. When you become close, they might open because they think you belong there, because you're ready for it. This occurs because the timing is opportune. You might notice the change in simple, clear ways. The conversations will line up. Unexpectedly, invitations will surface. Individuals will approach you spontaneously. These thoughts will provide immediate support. Your assets will connect with your mission. You will feel as if something larger than yourself is progressing ahead of you. Yes, that is precisely what is going on. I'm making the way clear. I'm making hearts softer. I am getting ready for places to stay. Before you get here, I'm lining things up. You will enter spaces designed to accommodate your voice, your gift, your presence, and your calling. At that point, my acceleration can align with your efforts. Your steps will be matched with an incredible amount of ease. Things that once took years now happen in mere seconds. And when it happens, you'll know it was me. Because there is no way for a person to plan, for doors to open before they even reach out. Walk around and hope for the best. The entrances are ready for you. Look into the deepest part of your spirit. Your life is about to change so quickly, so purposefully, and so definitely that your doubts might not even have time to catch up with what I'm doing. You have kept your worries to yourself. You have doubts about your worth, your abilities, your calling, your future, and your ability to handle benefits. You were not sure if you were really picked. You had doubts about your abilities. You had doubts about whether you were ready. You weren't sure if what I said would happen was possible. Even though you liked strolling, the old doubts followed you around like shadows. I'm about to start something new in your life, though, and the speed will be faster than any fear you've had. At some point in every destiny, I speed up so quickly that fear can't hold on. That second is almost here. You might not have time to think about whether you're certified anymore. The chance will come up too quickly. You might not have time to impeach, even if you're ready. Grace will come in faster than hesitation can speak. You might not have time to question whether you belong or not. Your spirit will know right away what the alignment means because it will be wonderful. The speed I'm bringing isn't meant to slow you down. It's meant to shut down everything that used to hold you back. During the wait, your doubts were loud. In the quiet, they were loud. During the long seasons when nothing seemed to move, they were loud. But doubts can't last when things speed up. Good things begin to happen one after the other. When readability starts to form quickly, when doors suddenly swing open, and when provision shows up out of the blue, your doubts will fall apart under the weight of undeniable proof. You might no longer need to talk yourself into believing. You might not fight with your thoughts. You won't have to fight fear every day. Benefits will start to back up what your religion has been fighting for years. Furthermore, little one, this big movement isn't dangerous. It has a specific. It comes after years of hard work, growth, and improvement. You're not being hurried. You are about to be launched. The speed of this launch will signal the end of the season of doubt. I'm pushing you forward faster than your doubt can keep up. Pay close attention with holy respect. The force that will soon change your life isn't always due to your work, approach, energy, or plans. It's far more heavenly, supernatural, and planned by God. You have worked very hard. You have been strong. You've done what you needed to do. What comes next, though, will feel bigger than your abilities, beyond your control, and outside of your verbal achievements. This is because the change isn't always caused by people. The change isn't slow. It doesn't make sense. It is backed by, pushed by, and driven by heaven. You'll start to feel an unseen force moving you forward, but this time it won't be pushing you firmly. Instead, it will be leading you with hope. It will feel easy to keep going, but it won't be inactive anymore. It will work, but it won't be too much. Your spirit was ready for this speed, even if your mind didn't believe it. It'll be great and herbal. This push will affect every part of your life. Relationships, finances, a cause, options, innovation, self-confidence, and emotional growth will all be impacted. Everything you've grasped will shift simultaneously. Things that didn't seem to be on time will suddenly fall into place. Things that have been closed will suddenly become open. This event is not something that could be made. If you made an effort, you could get them to follow it. Even if you were cautious, you couldn't plan it. You couldn't force it to appear, even with the strongest will and the best connections. Because of this, it will be impossible to deny. You might discover that the outcome was not due to your actions. You may know it wasn't luck. You might understand that it wasn't a matter of chance. You might know what it turned me into. This heavenly force is coming because you stayed true, even when things moved slowly. You did what you were told even though things weren't clear. Even though things were trying to break you, you stayed hopeful. You kept walking even though your step became shaky. Now heaven is reacting with speed, which you can't earn but are fully ready to get. You should get your heart ready, because what's coming isn't always steady motion. It's not even close to divine force. And once it starts, it can't be stopped. Listen to me with all the weight of heaven behind these words. You are the next person in line, and the surprise you've been waiting for has been moving toward you all along. It is approaching not slowly or cautiously, but with divine accuracy and unstoppable speed. For years, you've felt like you were always just on the edge, never quite there but close. You could feel other people progressing, while you quietly held on to your hope. While you waited in silence for your turn, you thought about the people who testified. While you waited, you observed opportunities for others to share your joy. But even when you felt like you had too much to handle, I want you to know this fact. You were not forgotten at all. You have been put down. Now it's your turn. It's not because you've worked the hardest, prayed the loudest, or been the best, but because the time for your miracle has finally arrived. What you are going into isn't always a gift that has been used before. This isn't extra food. This moment wasn't meant to be the start. Your miracle has been carefully kept, wrapped in a blanket, and put together just for you. Please keep in mind your story, your scars, your growth, and your calling. It came later than planned, because you were still being shaped into the person who can fully carry it. Now, heaven has said, get ready. This miracle does not always come crawling up behind you. It moves way too quickly. It's propelling you forward at a rapid pace. It's breaking through barriers you don't even know are there. Putting things off over and over again turned into a religious practice, not a punishment or a refusal. You weren't being pushed back. You were set up to make a difference. That connection is now complete. You are now in the real place that is needed for manifestation. This is why you are feeling an odd mix of nervousness and excitement right now. Your spirit has already sensed the shift, even before your eyes could perceive it. Furthermore, baby, you might not have to keep looking for this surprise anymore. You won't have to beg for it anymore. You won't have to push on it. The thing that's supposed to be for you is getting closer, not farther away. It's unfolding in unexpected ways. That's a significant distance from following rules you never considered. It is developing in ways that you could not have anticipated, even with your best efforts to control it. You have been given this gift, and no one can steal what is given. Soon, it will be time to receive instead of being ready. The change will be felt in your spirit, in your emotions, in your chances, in your relationships, and in your environment. Things will suddenly fall into place. All of a sudden, things will line up. Things will get better. Suddenly, everything will proceed according to the plan. Long seasons used to feel terribly slow, and this next season will be unbelievably swift. You will have no doubts about it at all when it comes. Your heart will see it as the easiest thing I could have planned, something that is full of God's fingerprints. You will be amazed as you realize that everything you've been through has led you to this very moment. Little one, you are next in line, and your miracle is already on its way. Yes,